Okay, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the City of Sweetwater regular commission meeting. Meeting date Monday, July 11th, 2016 at 8 p.m. Commission Chambers, 500 Southwest 109 Avenue. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note all members present, sir.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Diaz, can you lead us, please?
Let's pray. Lord and Celestial Father, we thank you, Lord, for being here. Thank you for your blessings, your protection, your guidance. Thank you for our families, for our residents, for this beautiful city. We ask you protection and blessing for those that put their life on the line every day so that we can keep our liberties and freedom in our country and other countries that look after freedom and liberty as well. We want to unite our condolences to those in Texas that fall due to this cowardice from active shootings from a hidden position against officers that were on the line just protecting a peaceful march requesting rights. Lord, guide us now during this meeting. Bless our city, our residents, because in your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Okay, special presentations. A, we have an appearance of Beta Fernandez to convey the gratitude of herself and her family for the honor given by the city to her late husband, Commissioner Manuel Fernandez. Beta.
I would like to thank the city of Sweetwater, the beautiful city of Sweetwater, and the city of Miami, and the mayor, commissioners, that were involved in having named the street from my dear husband, Manuel Fernandez. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you. Item B, in special presentations, recognition of Little Abner Archery Team by Mayor Lopez for winning the state competition. Mayor?
Yes, Little Abner Archery Team won the state championship in the competition, and I've got a couple of awards that I'd like to present to. Let me go to the podium down there. If I could ask the archery team to come forward, I'd like to present the certificates of recognition to Jasmine Fuentes, Robert Alpizan, Michael Lopez. Sorry, Michelle Lopez. Ivana Garrido. Would all the commissioners like to come down and take a group picture with them?
Yes, thank you.
Keep this for prosperity with them.
Please, Mayor, if possible, his mother and father is in here. The children is gone. Yeah, mother and father.
And the mayor, Father Giselle, something?
Congratulations. Awesome. Good job.
Paso usted adelante.
nuestra abuela, please. Mis años en Camagüey.
Esa no me preocupó.
And of course, I'd like to welcome and mention Ms. Olga Hernandez from Commissioner Pepe Diaz's office. She's with us today. We have also Cecilia Holtz Alonso. She's one of our head of the zoning board member, and any other members that might be here. And we have Mr. John Rivera from the PBA here also visiting with us today. So welcome. Okay.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, I don't want to disrupt, but Edgar, what's your last name?
Emilio.
Emilio Prado from zoning board as well.
Oh, welcome. I'm sorry, I missed your name.
No, he was sitting back there.
Many years before working for my city, this Mr. Prado.
Yes.
Good man.
Yeah.
Okay. We go to item 5, presentation of Employee of the Month Award.
For this month, I would like to name Julio Quintana, who besides doing an exceptional job on a regular basis, he was very instrumental in the filming of the City of Sweetwater Police Department Running Man Challenge, which was a phenomenal morale booster for the city. So this month, I'd like to present it to Julio Quintana. Congratulations, Julio.
Presentation of Officer of the Month Award.
This is a very unique position to be in this month because I don't feel that there's just one particular officer of the month. A lot of our brothers fell due to domestic terrorism in another state, and I'd first of all like to recognize them as officers of the month for valiantly giving their lives, and in conjunction, every one of my officers here who would gladly do the same. So I recognize them all.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, reports of officers, boards, and committees. Anything now?
I have nothing.
Okay, additions and deletions to the agenda.
To the chair.
Mayor?
I'd like to delete staff items B and G and put them for August meeting. These are items that Eric Gomez would better explain them, and he's not available to be at this meeting.
From the top item?
Yes, sir.
Be like that.
B as in boy,
B
and
and
G.
G.
And we're adding item L, which is the resolution that was the last one here that we just received this evening. Okay,
B and G.
and
This is item L.
yes. Okay, I want to go to petitions, communications, and remonstrances. But before we begin, we just want to say to everybody, we're going to allow everybody about 3 minutes to speak. Please try to keep comments, commissioners, mayor, anybody in the audience, please keep it down to a decent volume so everybody can hear, and respect the rights of others to speak, even if you're not in agreement with what they're saying. Give them the opportunity to speak. But unfortunately, we're only going to allow you a little bit of time to speak.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
the lady that we have down for item A, Terry Goodman Valdez, has advised us that she will not be able to make it tonight. Evelyn Martinez also will not be able to make it tonight. Pilar Martinez will not be here either, but sent an email requesting that you consider her for the next budget. That's all I have.
Okay, so A, C, and D are not here.
Right.
Okay, so we have a request of Luis Echegawa to address the commission on his layoff. Luis?
Buenas noches,
Bueno.
señor alcalde, comisionado. Yo soy una de las personas que llevo 10 años en ciudad y el señor alcalde lo dio leyó. Y quisiera saber los motivos del layoff mío, porque en una parte del contrato de la unión dice las habilidades. Y que yo sepa, tengo muchas más habilidades de las personas que se dejaron allá abajo. Porque tengo una CDL, manejo el centro de los viejitos, hago la ruta de la ciudad, manejo el sweeper, opero la grúa, hago varias cosas.
May?
We're gonna transfer.
You want to
Through
respond
the
to him?
chair,
Well, everybody can petition, and I can make one blanket statement at the end if you like.
Well, I think he has a specific question of why him, if he has a,
I understand petitions, communications, remonstrances are normally to address and tell the commission something. It's not really to engage in a dialogue back and forth. I can make one statement if you like afterwards, because all the employees are going to be at the same
so
thing.
you don't want to answer him now?
Or I can make one statement at the end. They're all going to be the same.
¿Usted tiene alguna otra pregunta o algo que quiere? Porque él quiere contestar al final. He would like to answer at the end any questions that you may have.
No. Solamente quería saber cómo llegaron a esa decisión.
Deborah Greco was in the audience.
Okay,
She
él
doesn't
quiere
speak
hacer,
Spanish.
Mayor Diaz?
yeah, through the chair, can you ask his son if he speak English to translate Slovak
He
and
brought
Yeah, I
some.
do speak.
He brought some.
Please repeat everything that he's saying for the record.
Yes,
Everything that he has mentioned.
So basically, he wants to know what was his reason about getting laid off. He's been working in the city for 10 years. He's got a CDO driver's license, and from him was telling me there's some other people that are not as qualified as him for his position. So plus whatever equipment he operates in the city, like cranes and sweepers and stuff. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Él quiere responderle cuando ya todas las personas vengan.
To the
Commissioner?
chair?
Yes.
Yes. You mentioned that you have some sort of like, they want explanation based on they were saying that the part-time supposed to be laid off first and the full-time would actually go after the part-timers. That's what he was trying to say. Actually, that's what he was mentioning me, that he wants an explanation about it.
You want to see what he's talking about?
Yes,
Okay. all right.
can he explain a little more details what he was, trying to explain to us?
He showed me this paper in the afternoon. If you read section 11.2, that explains the layoff process for the city, I guess.
Yeah, he was going over this.
Okay, would you like me to read it for you, or is it?
I
already
explained
it, Okay, so- that's
Did you
fine.
explain to him
me
so
Okay.
we understand?
You
Yeah,
want-
he wants to see it. Actually, at the end, if the mayor please explain to him, in reference to these conditions that, according to that's from the union, right? The
I think it's
layoff
a
is.
union contract.
Union contract, the layoff is supposed to be part-timers first and the full-timers.
It says temporary worker, it doesn't say part-timers.
And,
All temporary?
through the chair, at last meeting, I asked Guillermo about the layoff conditions, and he explained, and he searched on the charter that the mayor should follow the seniority of each of the individuals. In in order to,
Gracias.
they have to follow the seniority order of each employee in order to lay them off.
Mr. Attorney?
Yes, at the last meeting, such conversation took place, but I also want to direct you to the fact that it is not a steadfast rule regarding seniority. There is also some discretion relative to abilities, as the gentleman was mentioning, he was mentioning some of his certifications, some abilities. Some of that goes into the consideration as to what staff could be or may be laid off. So it is not strictly about seniority. Again, qualifications and other such criteria also come into the analysis as to who may be laid off.
So, to the chair, Mayor, you're gonna be explaining to him later on at the end, because he wants some answers.
Correct. It's,
Okay.
the 3 employees were laid off at the same time.
Okay.
They're gonna have similar accounts, and I can explain
Yeah,
it all
but you're
at
gonna
one
be
time.
overall,
Correct.
you know, giving a statement about it, so we
Mhm.
can, at least,
Correct.
can have an answer. Thank you.
Ok, eso es todo. Él le va a responder cuando
A
todos
todos.
vengan. Es lo que quiere hacer. Okay, and then the next one is, I believe, E?
Miguel Lau.
Sí.
Yeah, Miguel Lau to address the commission on his layoff. Miguel?
Buenas noches.
Bueno.
Señor alcalde, comisionado, el motivo de mi presencia aquí es igualmente reclamar el layoff que se me dio en la ciudad de Sibore. He trabajado durante 5 años continuos y no entiendo el por qué tengo las mismas habilidades que muchos compañeros que no se les dio el layoff y sin embargo entraron a la ciudad a trabajar último que yo. Entonces, quisiera que eso se reconsiderara y se tuviera en cuenta a ver la situación esa y me explicara el porqué de este layoff. Muchas gracias.
Okay. He's gonna respond to you. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, guys. How are you? I'm going to be translating for my father-in-law. His name is Miguel Lau. He's been working for the city of Sweetwater for the last 5 years. Like the other gentleman last that spoke to the board, he worked for 5 years in the city, and he works as a maintenance one employee in the city. And the same pretty much applied. He got laid off, and the other employees as well work in his department in the maintenance also got laid off with less time that he has worked for the city. And he also has CDL like the other gentleman who was sending it for him. And pretty much he would like to know the specifications of what was the reason of why they gave him the layoff and kept other workers that pretty much has either part-time status or full-time status with less time than him working for the city of Sweetwater.
Okay, thank you. He's gonna address you after the people all come up.
Thank
Request of Abraham Alba
Abraham.
to address the city commission on his layoff.
Abraham,
Abraham.
I have nobody for me
I don't know if you may want to ask the gentleman that just helped his father-in-law.
Can you help him
Or-
to translate, please?
Buenas noches, alcalde. Buenas noches, comisionado. Yo llevo con la ciudad trabajando 9 años, exactamente. Cuando yo empecé con toda la CDL mía y al tiempo me fueron desplazando, poniendo los muchachos jóvenes a trabajar. Entonces yo tuve que mi CDL renunciarla porque ya yo no tenía derecho a manejar nada. Y terminé en lo que era cortando hierba, que era mi último trabajo que yo estaba haciendo. Quería saber el problema.
Sí.
Que los nuevos tienen más habilidades que yo no tengo, que le dan chance a ellos a manejar los camiones como sweeper.
Okay.
Es lo que debería saber.
Okay, si ella lo puede.
Claudia.
Abraham.
My name is Abraham. I worked for the city for 9 years. When I first started working with the city, I have my CDL license, and as time went on, the duties of driving were given to younger employees, and to the point that I had to let my CDL license expire. And so the last position that I held was I was mowing the lawn. So I wanted to find out as well why I was laid off.
Okay.
Are there any additional?
Is there any other employees that wish to come up about the layoff or any other thing with in regard?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor?
No, we have other people now who signed in.
Oh, but for the same
A
thing?
reference to layoffs?
I don't think so.
Okay. Now, I'll explain it. It applies to the 5 that had requested to speak anyway. It is with a saddened heart that we have to go through layoffs again this year as we did last year. After sitting down with the department directors and going through operational necessity and what employee is better kept for a longer period of time, these are not obviously the only layoffs that the city is in the process of doing, but rather a series of layoffs that we're going to continue. City currently, right now, has about $160,000 and does not have sufficient monies to meet the next payroll, which is in approximately 10 days. As this time passes, the only way that the city can continue functioning is to start lowering whatever debts we can. The only place that we can physically do it right now is through employee layoffs.
En este momento, el alcalde quiere expresar que es tristemente que él tiene que hacer estos despidos por falta de recursos. Esto es por necesidad operacional. Básicamente evaluando a los empleados que pueden mantenerse por más tiempo en la ciudad, llevando a cabo varios cargos. Y también esto es solamente la primera en una serie de despidos presupuestarios y que todavía vienen aún más despidos presupuestarios en las próximas semanas. Adicionalmente, en este momento la ciudad no tiene dinero para pagar la nómina, que son $280,000. En este momento lo que le queda en la cuenta de banco de la ciudad son unos $160,000. Y es tristemente que hemos tenido que llegar a este punto, pero quería informarles que ha sido por necesidad operacional de la ciudad.
These employees that are being laid off in a series of layoffs for financial reasons at this moment, as well as the layoffs of last year, will be placed in the budget for the 16-17, which will go out before Sunday for consideration of the commission.
Estos empleados, al igual que los empleados que fueron despedidos el año pasado por recortes presupuestarios, van a ser incluidos y considerados en el próximo presupuesto 16-17, que va a salir el próximo domingo.
Thank you, Claudio.
Okay, we have Mr. Jose Mejia that wishes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner Maronio, Commissioners. My name's Jose Mejia. Residents, such as myself, have watched in silence as this city commission exasperates and continues to exasperate our city's problems. Rather than unify, it has also divided our city. Rather than bring prosperity, it has caused turmoil. It has willfully engaged in behavior detrimental to both this city and its residents, including myself, commencing with Mr. Diaz and his incompetent decision to use a $1.6 million grant given by FEMA to satisfy the $1.9 million line of credit with Regents Bank. Instead, Mr. Diaz used that to balance the budget. Okay? Furthermore, the Commission's persistence in not following both city charter and state law, as a judge most recently, July 10th, found it in a court order, is a stellar example of its incompetence, for which resulted, as I mentioned moments earlier, in litigation that concluded in the mayor's favor. All this back and forth has brought upon the layoffs that many individuals that have put many years, sweat and tears into this city, okay, with pride and love and joy. And those very back and forth and this little 9- and 6-year-old games with the city commission, and most in particular the vice mayor and Mr. Diaz leading the direction of that, has brought upon these layoffs. Now, not only has that caused the turmoil, as I said previously, okay, but if I can, really quick, okay, on page 5 of that court order, it says on 18, it says on 20, sorry, in this case, I'll end right here, the undisputed facts show that the 2015 to 2016 final budget violates the city charter and statutes 166.241 from Florida statutes as a matter of law. So my question to this city commission, this wonderful city commission, and I say that with huge sarcasm, okay, is when are we going to cut the games? When are you going to start fulfilling your duties? And when are you going to stop playing political games? As all of us residents, as well as former employees, because of the layoffs, continue to suffer. When are we going to tighten up, and when are we going to get situated, and when are we going to progress and move forward rather than move back? Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that welcome and thank you for coming and showing up. I've never seen you here before to help us in any way, shape, or form in what you're doing and what you're saying today. Second of all, if you really realize at the end of the day that the budget that the mayor had, the tentative budget was the one that the judge now says is the one that's in play, and the budget that the commission adopted, and by the way, he signed and sent to Tallahassee saying that it was a final adopted budget and it was balanced. And so did the finance director, came here, and I specifically had him say that it was balanced and that it would be a $200,000 leftover. Now, either way, he's been working with the tentative budget, which he believes is the correct one, and the judge agrees with him at this point. But if you think about it, if he's been operating under his budget, then why are we in the same failure that we are right now? He's been using his budget. So, wait, let me finish, please. So, if we've been using his budget, the games are not the games that we've been playing. I've lived here for about 25 years, and I've been here working physically for free for a long time before I even became a commissioner, and did a lot of things. I've never seen you anywhere helping anybody, doing anything, met you or otherwise. I think that if you go back and look in retrospect, if you look at the meeting that we had last week, the case comes down to that if the mayor had the vision and said that we needed to raise the taxes at 4.5, and the commission sought not to raise the taxes of the city of Sweetwater for the residents, because whether you understand it or not, it was basically it had to be 4.5 or nothing. And it was 63% that it was gonna go up for all the residents of the city. And to lay the complete burden of all the mistakes that have happened in past, we all are at fault with the things that have happened here. But you need to understand that there's a lot of things that go on that you don't understand, such as the Sunshine Law, which the commissioners cannot talk about any of these items. And he has the full use, the mayor has a full use of the staff, the finance department. They've taken away our secretary for a year for 7 people. And the ability to get information of the actual numbers. If you look at the paper that he gives us as a cash flow sheet, okay, the mayor and the finance department, not the mayor, the finance department gives us a cash flow sheet, which is ridiculous. The way that it may have the right numbers, it may have the wrong numbers, we don't know. But when we ask as commissioners, we're still waiting. We've had over 10 meetings, some of them called by the mayor, okay, to fix and to amend the budget. Doesn't show up. And you heard it at the last meeting, people get sick, but 10 times in a row, and some of the staff doesn't show up. So, you know, I accept responsibility like everybody here should, but it's pretty hard. What a coincidence that you show up on the day after the judge votes against us. If you really cared, you should have been here a long time before. And that goes with everybody. Okay, we have from employees to people that work in the city, to people outside the city, to the media, which only comes here to perpetrate a circus constantly. Okay, and I think that it's unfair to blame just the commission. I think it's everybody's fault, and we've tried to work together. But when you have a strong mayor form of government, it's basically been turned into a dictatorship here. And if you look at it, the only thing that the mayor has done, he's done a couple of things where we've saved money, like the thing with the internet and a couple of things like that. But some of the major items that since he is a strong mayor, some of these, he's the only one that can negotiate. He's the only one that can accept the contract. If somebody was to come right now and tell us, I'm gonna give you $5 million in a loan to the city, we can't do it. We can't negotiate it. We can't do nothing. It has to be him. So in 1 year, he hasn't fixed any of the major things. They're gone to negotiate with some of the people that showed up here at the meeting last time on their own and said that they would help the city. And it's always a play on words. It's you said and this percentage and that guy did that. It's never the administration's fault. He's got full control of the city and all the levers that go with it. So we should all accept it, but I think that your little sarcasm has no place here today. Either you bring solutions or try to bring us together. But I don't really appreciate you coming and trying to be funny because the media's here and somebody either put you up to it or you decided all of a sudden that you care.
If I may respond, Vice Mayor, you commented moments ago, dictatorship. Is it not true that a while back there were city finance officials that came per the request of the mayor, and this city commission, I don't want to name any names in particular, kicked them out? Is that not the case?
Yes. But
okay, so then there we go. Hold on, wait, I'm still speaking. There we go. The dictatorship, yet there's no formal democracy nor professionalism.
Yes, there is a democracy.
Yet we want to progress the city.
Wait, hold on a minute. First of all, I control the floor at all times. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I want to answer your question because I don't want to spend all night on this thing, but I think that you need to go and find out that we did it the proper way. We went through a motion or a resolution, I can't remember at this moment what it was, and we asked them not to come. Because what was happening is you're having a city who had financial problems of themselves, okay? And we didn't know, is it gonna be a report? Is it gonna be a written report? It's gonna be, what is it gonna be? Okay, and I think that the higher authority that we should go to, and you'll see today that we have a resolution, which neither the commission or the mayor has done to this point, even though the county has opted to try to help us out, and they've come here themselves, and they've asked us to please balance our checkbook, which we haven't done, okay? And they're willing to help us balance our checkbook. They've had a meeting with them before. We don't have a balanced checkbook. We asked for, adopted, unaudited items for the last month. You don't get it. It's always, no, we're waiting for an audit. We're waiting for something else. Finance director can't make it. We had budget revisions, don't show up. Do you think that's professional? So we did what we had to do, and I think we'd all get together and try to fix this one way or another. I brought last meeting 6 options. They may not be the greatest. I'm not a financial expert, but the mayor, the administration can lead us to try to get some of these options done. And now we're not talking about a small bond for whatever. There's different options. And we've had time, we've had a year. But when we go and ask for stuff and we don't get it, and that's the way it is. We have to ask for permission to speak to the finance department. When I've been here for like 16 years, and all you gotta do is call them up and come on up and I'll show you the numbers. So you need to understand those things too. So thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
Sir?
Madam Clerk and gentlemen, hold on a second, please. The gentleman provided for the record his address.
It should be
We
on
have it
that
here,
side.
yes, sir.
Right here.
Are you a recipient of one of the layoffs that has been
No,
given
but
recently?
No, I am not. But I live in the city. Neighbors of mine work for the city, as far as parks and recreations. And as a resident, I just continue seeing and standing in silence this ridiculousness and this flawness in government. And as the Vice Mayor says, I think that this whole year of back and forth, and rather than progressing, the only reason to that would be the lack of bipartisanship. I think there's a power struggle. I don't want to name any names, but there's certain individuals that let their egos get involved, and that's why we have this instead of following city charter.
To the chair,
Mayor.
just 30 seconds. Young man, as the Vice Mayor was saying, this is the first time I see you here. I've been living in the city for 25 years, and I've been serving the city even before I was a commissioner. And I really appreciate that you get involved and bring up your ideas. But before you bring ideas, you should get informed a little bit. On my 22 months of acting mayor, the city was renewed. all the programs for the children and for the seniors were exceeding the expectations. And we incorporate the bike patrol, the mounted patrol, and the city was in the best conditions ever, under 2.74 of taxation first. And your sarcasm, you can take it somewhere else. Because what you said about that FEMA revenues for the water project, nobody ever authorized that under my administration. The actual city attorney was my chief of staff. He never knew anything about it. And whoever did those payments, you should look in the records to see how they were made, because I never authorized them via email, text, or even orally. So get informed and then get some, foundation to express any concerns about this commission, because we are all elected officials. We are not improvised people that follow a script from someone like you are doing right now.
If I may, and
Okay.
really quick, short, I apologize, Vice Mayor. Mr. Diaz, just quick question, since you're a fan of your term as mayor, is it not true that 20 months you blew through $4.2 million? And what does the city have to call for that? I'm asking that question.
And I'm answering.
Okay.
No.
No.
When I took over the city was in a chaos. The FBI, the FDLE, a lot of demands, a lot of suits to the city, and a lot of debts. So wait 6 months not paying your rent, you're gonna have some cash in the bank, right? But if the bank requests you to pay, what do? You have no money, you have to pay off whatever you owe. And that's what happened. There were a lot of money overspent that the state requested and hold the payment for the senior center. Are you gonna leave like 180 seniors without services that they depend for nutrition on a breakfast and a lunch every day? Would you take that decision, or would you pay from your reserve those services?
Well,
Now,
Would you pay by contractual obligation the police officers that were all racist because of their contractual obligations with the police union? And even we have here tonight the UPAD representative, Ms. Greco, that there were a lot of issues with the civilians union too. And I follow all the steps to pay off and do the increases according to those contractual obligations, so that everyone have a fair benefit from my administration. So I think that you are going, totally ignoring the realities of what I went through.
Okay, if I can, one of the things, and that's gonna be it. One of the things that's happened here, if you learn the history of what has happened here before, when his administration came up, the exact same things that have happened have been in opposite now with Mayor Lopez. He came in and said, hey, the city is I was the only commissioner that came here and stood with him that day. I didn't know all the numbers. We had just started. We were trying to do the best we can. There was a huge confusion. There was a bunch of bank accounts. There was money missing, stuff missing in the police department, all kinds of issues that you have no idea. And I was the only one that came here with him. Most of these commissioners weren't here, by the way, so I'm not trying to dog out the commissioner. But I was the only one that came with him here, and he was trying to say that there was a financial emergency. And Mayor Lopez was sort of in the position that we've been, that I don't see it. I don't see it. And he was fighting with him tooth and nail about it. And then when he became mayor, all of a sudden, and he told me himself, wait till you get in the seat. When you're in my seat, that's when you see things differently. And I understand. I understand his point of view. So you need to brush up on your history of what's happened here before, too. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
George Fernandez, please.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Most of you know me here. My name is George Fernandez. I have a public address of 500 Southwest 109 Avenue. I'm a 24-year law enforcement veteran. I'm also in the United States Coast Guard as a reservist. I'm in the military. I've traveled all over the world in defense of our country and our nation. I've been employed by the city of Sweetwater since July the 20th of 2000. Prior to that, I was also a police explorer here many years ago, and I basically grew up in this town. Coming here, I went to school here. I even graduated from high school here. Believe it or not, we did have a high school here. Anyway, I'm here today in a nonpartisan type of position. I'm not here for the left or for the right or for the ups or for the downs.
I'm here for my brothers, the police officers who work with me every day, and I see them and I see the stressors that they're going through. I see the confusions. They come to work on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, our policemen are scared. Our police officers are scared to lose their jobs. They're scared to come to work and being told, hey, there's only a certain amount of money in the bank. Here's your letter. Defer payments until the next budget. And and the reality is there is no money, and these are the bank accounts, and there is no money to pay you, and I'm sorry. So attrition has been a little bit hard for the police department. We went from having 50-something police officers paid to now having 20-something police officers. It's a strain on the citizens. It's a strain on the administration, who has been trying to keep things together, contrary to belief, proper belief. I haven't seen that fighting and that battle within the police department and the police administration with us as officers. So I'd like to place that to rest right now. So if anybody is confused in any way that we're coming to work every day and we're fighting with the police administration, that's absolutely not true. My partner here is Iggy Manocal. I work with him every day, and we don't fight with the police administration, but we come and we do our jobs. Our problem is not necessarily what's going on between the commissioner and the mayor, the legislative branch, the executive branch, or what judges order or not order. We want to make sure that we have the money and we have the resources and our salaries are not cut, and we can put food on the table, like as we have been throughout the entire course of our career. Again, I have everyone on this commission seat. I have been to your homes, except for you, Mr. Suarez. I have been to your homes at one point or another. I have helped you up and down, even Mr. Mayor. And if it's any note at all that you never see me here anymore, it's only because I am out on the street and I'm helping our fellow police officers on a daily basis, trying to get through this. You know, I sign up for off-duty jobs just to give it to officers that can't work the jobs because they don't have the seniority. I mean, I'm number 4 in officer seniority, so I'm pretty high up on the chain. So when I sign up for something, I can give it to an officer who doesn't have a job, and he's got a little daughter whose wife doesn't work because she has a problem. And I'd like for everybody on this commission and Mr. Mayor and everyone here to please take note. Policemen are being killed every day, and you're asking us, not you, the citizens, the community, popular demand, asking us to go on the street and patrol the city, keep you safe, but no money. Understand, please, that what I'm here to tell you today is to please consider the lives of the policemen who have been giving you peace and security and safety. And no matter what, we're going to be here for you. Through storms, hurricanes, we've all been there. I've worked with you moving trees out of the road. You've seen me in the middle of a storm, Duaso, in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, come to my house. No problem, Commissioner, I'm here for you. China, same thing. Everyone on this commission can depend on us. Now we want to depend on you. And depend on the citizens. That the citizens know that they can depend on us. Thank you.
George, one of the things I would like to say about that,
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm in a complete agreement with you.
I didn't mean to walk off. I just didn't want to.
No,
I wanted
it's
to
okay,
yield
okay.
the rest of the time to the officer.
Okay. I'm in agreement with you. We have physically been there. You can ask any police officer, anybody before. I've always been there. We've always voted to get stuff for you, for the
Yes,
vest,
sir. Yes,
for the
sir.
cars, for anything
sir.
that they've ever asked. I've actually gotten badged because, hey, you're a police. You're always with the police. You're always wanting to get more bullets. You always want them. So we're with you. We don't have a problem with that. But you got to understand, and I don't want to keep blaming the administration only. It's everybody's fault. But you need to understand that when you're put in our position, just like he's in his position, he's got his things that he's got to do. We're in our position, and what would you do if you have to pay your bills at home and your wife says, you know, hey, we need $100 to pay our bills, and she's running the bank, and you tell her, how much do we have? Well, I only got $3, and you're like, but I just got paid 2 minutes ago. I don't know how it can only be $3. I'm not sure. And then we're not giving access to a lot of the things. And That's all we're asking for.
I understand.
We've asked
I
for a
understand.
budget revision. What do we do? What is your suggestion? You know, because it's nice that you came
Communication,
and told
sir,
us this.
just communication. We need to continue to talk. We need to continue to
Right.
talk with each other, sit down,
I-
and even if it takes 3-4 special commission meetings in a month just to get things out of the way. You
Right.
start filtering
Right.
all of the
But
problems out of
we
the
need
way.
we need the administration and especially the finance department to show up. They call the meeting. They call the meeting.
I understand.
We show up.
Well, again, I wholeheartedly mean what I said at the
Right.
beginning. This is nonpartisan. I am not left or right, up or down.
Right.
I am a friend, and everybody, all the police officers that are here are all of everybody's here's friend. We love the city. If we didn't love the city, we have had opportunities. I have had opportunities to go to other agencies and start at staff levels.
Right.
And I have decided, I have elected to remain here, to finish out my time, get my retirement, and move on. Try to do what I can do. And no matter what, Sweetwater is always going to be my home. So
we all live here. We're going to retire here. And we've been
Yes,
working
sir.
here, raise our families here and done everything.
You can continue
and
to
we
count on
go
us.
since the pumps and the water and the hoses
That's right.
and Mayor
Before
Diaz
the pumps.
and everything
Before
else.
the pumps.
Yeah.
When we were trench line and police cars were driving around and water up to their windows.
Right.
And John Rivera would drive by in his car down 8th and had to stop on the bridge just to say, "Oh my God, you guys are underwater." I remember that, John. I remember that. So,
Okay,
you remember
thank you,
that?
George.
Thank you.
Through the chair, George?
Sir.
Yeah. Officer Jorge.
Sir.
I would like to say that the doors of my house are always open to you for a visit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Mr. George Maduro.
Hi, my name is George Maduro.
Welcome, sir.
I just came just to watch you guys, but he made a good recommendation. I'm the son of a baseball legend, Bobby Maduro,
Yes.
and I retired 2015. I used to come here, do a lot of events in Clearwater. I used to work for Care Plus, so I love the city. And I had to retire to Syracuse, New York, where I played AAA baseball in the Yankees organization. But it gave me a chance to start going to Cooperstown and start loving to get my father recognized in the Hall of Fame for everything he did. So the good news is they're going to recognize Bobby Maduro for his accomplishment in baseball. And what we're going to be doing is we're running a massive campaign everywhere. That's why I'm here, and I appreciate him inviting me or telling me how to do it. So we're going to have a big dinner at the Big Five where we're going to recognize all the baseball legends that are still alive, like Tony Taylor, Cookie Rojas, Leo Posada, and so forth. We're inviting the Commissioner of Baseball. We're inviting all the Major League teams. And the community has been extremely receptive. So since I love the city here, I thought, make myself available to do anything we can in baseball here. And also at the same time, invite some of you guys to basically get a ticket. It's only going to cost $50 to go, $40 to go, and then a table $350. So we'd love to have a lot of people from the city of Sweetwater represented there. So,
Sir,
May I
perfect.
be the
You can
president?
pass on the information.
May I?
I will. I'll give
May
it
I?
to you, George. Okay.
Commissioner as well.
So thank you.
Wait, Mr. Maduro, please. It's very important you're here. You know why you are named Maduro. For many years in my Cuba, remember, and United States, thank you, Mr. Maduro. I appreciate your presence in here. Thank you.
I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
So appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I remember going to see the Yankees and the Orioles at
Yeah.
Bobby Maduro Stadium. And I missed the Springsteen concert. I was in the Marines far away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Dade County PBA. Mr. John Rivera. Welcome, sir.
Welcome to the jury, Mr. Rivera.
Oh, boy. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, honorable commissioners. My name is John Rivera. I'm the president of the Dade County PVA, and I have the honor of representing your finest. Let me start off by saying that, wow.
before people celebrate, be very, very careful, because lower courts have been overturned. I'll give you a case in example. We had an argument with Mayor Carlos Jimenez, and he won in the lower courts, and we appealed it, and we won. And now, pretty soon, and he's holding off till after the elections, but he's going to have to pay about $12 million back to the men and women of the police department. So before we celebrate victory, let's be very, very careful. I want to bring you back a little bit to the very first day each of you came to office. Do you remember that day that you raised your right hand? There was a lot of pictures, a lot of cameras, and you swore to protect, defend, and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America.
Yes, sir.
I don't think any of you did that as a joke. I know you all, and I know you were very serious about that. Let me read you, and I'm going to read it verbatim so I don't even mess up one word. The very first sentence of the Constitution of the United States of America. And it says, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice," and then the next comma, "ensure domestic tranquility." And then the sentence goes on. I want to focus on ensuring domestic tranquility. The very first sentence of the Constitution of the United States of America says that you all must make sure that the citizens of Sweetwater are safe. The very first sentence, not the Second Amendment, not the 14th Amendment, the very first sentence. You must make sure before you open parks, before you open libraries, before you provide garbage service, you must protect your citizens. And there's only one way that you can do that: through your police force. Only one way. Only one way. I'm asking you tonight, on behalf of the men and women that you asked to run into bullets while people run out. And maybe some says, well, yeah, we haven't had that. You've had some problems here. You may not have had what has happened in Dallas. You may not have had what has happened in Michigan today, but you have had some serious issues here. And I see every one of your faces, and you have all protected and defended your police. Tonight is no different. Tonight is no different, or any other night. The very first thing before you do anything, even before you pay your own pensions, you must ensure domestic tranquility. The Constitution of the United States, the one that you swore to, ensures that. Commissioners, I know that there's this discord. If there's anything that the PDA can do to try to bridge that, we certainly want to do that. I'm also here for a second reason. I know that there have been some comments attributed to John Rivera and the PBA. John Rivera and the PBA are here in the flesh. Ask the questions, and I'll tell you what was said or not said. I will tell you what was said or not said. Mr. Mayor, with all due respect to you, sir, I know you're in a tough situation, and I sort of I've been around for 25 years in this political world, and we represent 28 municipalities and, of course, Miami-Dade County. Please find a way, figure out something that maybe there can be some cohesiveness. Mr. Mayor, I must say this, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form attacking you, but understand that the contractual agreements that we had here, you, my dear friend, were the president of the commission, and your chief of staff was the attorney. So for now, us to say, well, we can't do this, was there no foresight? Was there ignorance? Was there misinformation? Was there incompetence? Or were there lies? Give me which one it was and we'll try to work with you. But sir, you were sitting right in the middle. And your now chief of staff was the attorney that sat at the table. I want to work with all of you. We may agree to disagree sometimes. We did that.
Yes, sir.
And yet we sat down like gentlemen and always worked it out.
Absolutely.
Every one of you. Sometimes we didn't know it, but we always worked it out. We can work this thing out. You all can work this thing out. Listen, I may not like Carlos Jimenez, but I will sit down and work with him. I think you all can sit down and work with you all, with each other. Whatever we can do. I don't know what that whatever is, but whatever we can do to try to bridge that, to try to help it, to try to heal it, we're willing to do it. And like I said, I'm here to answer any questions. If there's any misunderstanding about what John Rivera said in any meeting. And with that, I want to say thank you to you all because I know you have a tough job. Thank you. But imagine this for a moment. Y'all have seen a hamster. Maybe you didn't own a hamster, but you've seen hamsters. Kids love it, right? And the little hamster goes around the wheel and goes around the wheel and goes around the wheel until it dies or until it runs away and escapes. Your employees feel like they're a hamster. Open the cage and let them out. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
You've been pretty clear. The only thing I can say about that is, Mayor, I don't want to make it into a political fight. I don't want to make it into another big issue. I just want to be clear that me personally, my intentions have always been to help the city. Most of you know my history, and you know I shouldn't be here right now because of physical issues. And a lot of people told me to stay away, but my whole thing was, hey, we need to save the city. We need to work on the things, and we need to fix the things that were broken from way back. I want to be clear that not because of the judge's order, because this may not end here, like as Mr. Rivera said, it may not end here, but not because of the order of the judge or anything. You've always known my character, and you know that I'm probably one of the only ones that's come to you from the beginning to try to speak to you. And I think it's really, my personal opinion is that it's become a tit for tat when I've tried to at least avoid that. And I would never want to have to talk to that gentleman that came here, a citizen like that, the way I had to today. But it gets to a point that we all have to get defensive, and we're all, like the last meeting when we had to let it out because it's been a year and nothing had happened. I think that real men can put everything aside, this is just like going into a battle and you need that guy next to you. You don't care that guy. You hated him in the barracks. You hated him. You hated his sister. She wouldn't go out with you. Whatever the problem was. When you're in that hole, that guy's your best friend. And I think we've gotten to that point. That my opinion is, because we've asked all the lawyers and we've asked everybody, and the other guy, and this guy wants his job, and this guy wants to be the department head, and the other guy wants. Listen, at the end of the day, it comes down to sincerity. For example, and I'm not bashing you, but I'm using it as an example. When we ask for a department head, we're trying to be civilized, normal people. That it's hard for us to say, hey, yeah, well, he gave us a name because legally, technically, he just has to say a name. He could say Santa Claus. And then we say no, and then we're going on and on about the same thing. But as responsible people, we want a resume. We want to meet the person, really know them, talk to them. They're gonna, you know, we're gonna, you know, let them take care of our children, maybe as a park director or something like that. So we want to know who they are. So I think that at the end of the day, this can really be fixed if we put everything aside and say, listen, at the end of the day, you hold a lot of the power in the city by being strong mayor. And if we work together and we work as hard as we have, bashing each other and trying to go to court and playing the game and doing everything we can, and believe it or not, everybody here has been trying to save everybody's job. I include the mayor actually believes that. We have definitely tried. Everybody's tried. So I think it comes down to this. If we can sit down and not worry about that, if I go outside to talk to somebody after this meeting and, oh, you were talking to Commissioner Yaño and, you know, the Sunshine Law, we're going to get them on you. And, you know, that's what we've been playing here. This has been a house arrest. This has been, you know, well, we all know each other for 25 years. I think the bottom line, if we really want to, you have the power and we have the power to sit down and say, just to give you an example, and it'll be just a rudimentary one to give you, if we could get a loan and somebody says, hey, we're going to take a chance on the city, we're going to give you a $5 million loan. And we put everything aside and we say, okay, let's take the loan, let's start anew, like when we refinance our houses when we all get in trouble, and say, hey, let's start from here, but you have to help us, help you, and we have to help you with the decisions, so we have to compromise. But it can't be everything or nothing, you know, take the taxes 63% or nothing, you know, because that's the way we felt at that time, and that's why that happened. Where this year, we got a new budget coming up, and just to be clear, at least as far as I'm willing to, you know, we have to look at the numbers for whatever reason that we have to raise the taxes, and the citizens are going to have to understand that if they want their protection and they want the things and the services that they get from Sweetwater, which are relatively cheap, even though we have a lot of people here that don't have a lot of money, so be it. But I think it's really simple. If we sit down, we can find remedies. Because if I found 6 things right away with the help of just a few people telling me, hey, look here, look on the internet or whatever, and you're willing to sign that or you're willing to commit to coming to a meeting for a budget, we won't have a problem. We never intended or wanted to hurt any employee here. I purposely had position numbers given in the budget so that we wouldn't be hurting a person. If we said we wanted 3 welders and 2 truck drivers, it's because that's the direction we wanted the city to go into. We didn't want 20 welders because we're getting away from welding, for example. We didn't want to pick a name. That's up to you, you know. But it's such a small city that it becomes personal. So these are people that are friends of ours, have been here for 10 years. You know, we stop off and give them a Coke while they're digging a hole or, you know, that kind of thing. They come by and you know, and help us with projects at the park or things like that. So I think if we can start anew, that's fine. If the commissioners want to just, I don't want to speak to him, I'm not going to talk to him ever again because I don't like him. Like Mr. Rivera said, we don't have to go to dinner together. We just got to work together. So I think that if we can sit down and do that, and you're willing to work with us and not worry about the win or not the win, because, you know, it might not end here, and then we appeal it, the other guy goes to court, it was 10 years later, you know, I suggest we sit down and work something out, because if we're talking about a week or 2 away from, and we're just hurting all the people in the city of Sweetwater. So we've been asking for access to numbers, and if you give us the numbers, we're willing to work. but it can't just be one all the way for one or all the way for the other. And I really don't believe that at the end of the day, the victory was about a budget, which both budgets are very similar at the end of the day. You know, they weren't gonna be any better. You're using your budget, we're still in the hole. We had our budget, still would have been in the hole. And the problem is that we had to focus on litigation. That's all we had to go by, because that's what you had put in your veto message. So I'm not trying to pound you with it, but I'm saying that's the only recourse we have at the end of the day. This is not the old West, you know? So if you're willing to work, we're willing to work. I've always been there when people didn't want to talk to you. But let's compromise, because the few times that I have gone, it's always, you guys don't get it at all, and it has to be this way. So I'm willing to work.
Through the chair, if I may
Yes, sir.
rebuttal, and I'm just going to say about 15, 20 seconds because it was too long for me to really remember everything you said. As I've said, and I've discussed it with you in the past, I have open doors. I've asked my secretary, Dita, to contact all of you and set up appointments to discuss things in the city. None of you come to my office.
That's not true.
Let me speak.
I always come.
Let me speak. Now, if we have a turning of a leaf now, and the commission wishes to do so, perfect. I've always wanted it. The commission has spoken bad about me. They've spoken ill of me. They've called me names. They've been outright disrespectful, and I've never lashed back at them. The commission meeting that you guys had a week ago when we were trying to declare a financial emergency, the commission got in cahoots to, this was not a discussion of the item that was at hand. It was just, let's bash Mayor Lopez at this meeting. I've said it before, and I've spoken to you privately. Let all the things in the past. I personally don't care if you get along with me. I personally don't care if any of the commissioners get along with me. We have to work together here for the betterment of the city. That's all I ask. That's all I ask from any of you. I'm not asking any of you guys to invite me to a Sunday picnic, to a dinner at your house, or anything. All we have to do is work for the betterment of the city. Individually, you have to work for the betterment of the city. Forget about your political careers. Put them aside. I've had commissioners come into my office when I've explained to them that the only option the city has to raise any additional revenues is to raise the millage rate, and they've told me that they've platformed on a campaign to not raise taxes, and they don't care if absolutely necessary to raise taxes. They will never vote in favor of it. That is not doing what's politically correct. I mean, sorry, that's not what an elected official does.
Right.
That's about a politician worrying about their political career.
Right.
What I'm asking is every single one of the commissioners here, stop acting selfishly, stop worrying about your political career, and do what's correct for the city and its residents. If we have to recall, if you remember, most of you commissioners were here before the annexation in 2009. The millage rate of the city was 4.9. There was nobody losing their houses. There was nobody on the brink of losing their houses. The millage rate was lowered in order to annex all the areas to the north. But the millage rate in this city was 4.9 previous to the annexation. If 2.74 is unsustainable to balance the budget, the commission has to raise some taxes. I've had a commissioner come into my office and tell me that I should tell the chief of police to tell police officers to give more citations. That way we can increase revenues. It's illegal. The only option that we have to increase revenues in the city is the taxation. The budget that's being prepared at this time, which is the 15-16 trim message, has to go out previous to Sunday. When the city clerk called me today and told me that there was a budget workshop scheduled for Monday for me to attend at Ricardo, I explained to Val, I said, I will not attend, and neither will Ricardo. It is our priority right now to make sure that we get that budget done by Sunday. They still scheduled the meeting, knowing that I said nor the finance director were going to get there. I asked for it to be scheduled next week, and it still got scheduled for Friday. Anytime next week. I don't want to continue going to a tip or that. If you like, let's go to, you can meet me whenever you like in my office, and we can discuss everything on this. But what I am asking, the same thing.
Right.
I've extended an olive branch all the time to the commission. Let's work together for the betterment of the city. We don't personally have to get along. I really don't care if we get along or not. Let's just work for the residents of the city.
Okay, but if I could say one more thing. You see, unfortunately, this is about the third time that I've tried to give an olive branch out, and the first thing that you typically do is, hey, it's everybody else's fault. They said this, they said that, and it's a little play on words. First of all, any time that you've ever asked me to your office, and other people have asked me to go to the office to talk to you because nobody else had talked to you, is when I showed up. So you begin with saying that nobody goes there, and I always go there, always. I spent 3-4 hours.
Repeatedly, months and months and months go by. And I asked my secretary to email all commissioners so they can come to my office and so we can meet, and I don't get any response.
Show me an email that it says that you've asked me to come to a
Can you
meeting.
please pull the emails for that tomorrow? Yeah, get it for me tomorrow.
Hey, at least I didn't receive them, because you know, everybody here knows, if you ask me to come, I will come.
I will have Indira
Okay?
produce them for you
Now,
tomorrow.
but you need to realize something too. You can't lay it all from the beginning now that we're trying to fix this, like everybody's asking us to.
Let's not. That's why I said, let's not engage in a tit for tat.
Well, but-
Let's just
well-
stop. Let's just stop, because you went on for like 30 minutes, and I said, I
Right.
don't have time to rebut everything you said.
Right.
Let's just stop. Let's meet in private, and let's discuss this in private, like
Well,
gentlemen.
the
like
only
you
thing I
said.
want to be clear about the private thing, because that seems to be the MO of every time that I've had a meeting. I'm being clear. We can ask Mr. Rivera. Man, I guess he left. Okay? That's exactly the type of issues that we've had, and Mr. Rivera had that issue where you have a meeting, and then you tell everybody when we come to a meeting what we said, and then it's like, no, that's what he said. And that's not true. And when everybody, hey, let's not get into that.
I
And that's
will
exactly
make sure
that's
that
the
when I
problem
meet
that
with the
happened with
commissioners,
Mr. Rivera.
to have Julio Quintana there videotaping the meeting, so that.
No, I'm
there's
not going to be videotaped by anybody. That's ridiculous. But that's exactly, and the proof is there with Mr. Rivera, that he had to write a letter saying that that's not what was said at a meeting with him. And then the same thing happened when I had a meeting with Ralph, and you, the finance director, and 2 of the finance workers, and then you had left. The same things, oh no, we didn't say that, you said this and you said the other. I've never been aggressive until I've had to be in this commission, and on a personal level with nobody, ever. I've always taken it. So all I'm asking you is, if we're gonna, and if you notice, a lot of your answers to everybody when they ask you something is, come meet me in my office, and then at the end, later on, they can't refute what happened. So all I'm asking is, please, just, let's not play on words anymore. Let's just try to work with it.
That's exactly
So,
what I'm asking.
You guys wanna meet tomorrow and we can work something out? That'll be great.
To the chair?
Ma'am.
Okay, the reason why we left the meeting on, sir, is just tonight, so you can give us a date. So we just schedule it. That was the only reason why we left it for Friday. So to ask you what day would be convenient, so we can set up this workshop or meeting, special meeting.
Val, if I recall correctly, I asked you to explain to the commissioners they can do it any day next week, correct?
Next week I'm going on vacation.
He's going on vacation.
Can we do it the next week, or I'll come from vacation? I'll
The
drive. I'll come
following
back.
week, I'm on vacation.
I'll come back next week. I'll come back. I'll drive back.
Okay, so can you just give me a date?
But please have the finance department here with the numbers.
Absolutely. The first and only thing that I asked for was, I said, the trim message has to, by charter, be out no later than Sunday. When the meeting was called for Friday, I said, it cannot be called for Friday. We don't know if we're going to be done Friday, and we are not going to stop the process to have entertain this meeting. I said, we don't know if we're going to finish Friday, we don't know if we're going to finish Saturday, we don't know if we're going to finish Sunday.
I believe, maybe in her defense, because I didn't know about all that, they just asked me to have a meeting. I said, no problem, we'll have a meeting. When they called me today. You need to understand that what happens is that part of the deal with, I think, the judge and with everything else was that we have to go ahead and amend the tentative budget to get a final budget for, and then, so it's kind of like you're saying, we're broke on Friday, but we're gonna work on the budget for next year. So it's kind of like,
We can happily do it next week, which is all I've said,
Okay.
and I keep saying the same statement, just not this week before Sunday, that the trim message has to go out.
Can we have a date, sir?
Val, when would you like to do it next week? Wednesday?
Be good. I'm sorry to the chair.
Tuesday's fine.
Tuesday's fine with me.
Tuesday? Next Tuesday?
8 o'clock.
Tuesday?
8 o'clock, yes.
8 o'clock.
Next Tuesday.
Please, Mr. President.
Wait, ya acabaste.
You finish?
No, I only have
Is
one more
Ricardo
question, if you mind.
available Tuesday?
Do you mind telling me who is the commissioner who said that to you? Because every time you said, hey, commissioner, I'm part of the commissioners, and I know it wasn't me.
No, ma'am, it was
I just
actually
wonder.
yourself.
Huh?
It was actually yourself.
Me?
Yes.
Me?
You were the one that was in my office,
I
and
never
when I
said
discussed
anything
that,
to you.
well,
Oh,
you'd like to
please.
now change your statements.
Please.
It was yourself that was in my office, that you told me that you
Sir.
campaigned on that statement and that you would never
That's
vote.
not true. But as a matter of fact, I never been in office by myself.
Whatever,
So
man.
I have witness.
Okay. Ask your witness
Never.
what you said.
Oh, never. I will never go against my word. Never.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was saying.
You see what I'm saying? He blames anybody who feels like.
¿Que ¿Tú quieres hacer eso?
No, que sea 3 minutos.
Ok, no, pero tenemos que arreglar el programa.
Now,
Yes,
now,
sir, Mr. Suarez.
Mr. President, we have a meeting on Monday. Do you want to do the other meeting on Tuesday, or do you want to do it on Wednesday?
I'm sorry, what was the thing about Monday?
We have a meeting on Monday. We don't have a
Monday,
meeting
no.
on next
We
week,
have a
right?
meeting on the 25th.
The next Monday.
Correct, the
Following
25th,
Monday.
I'm out of town. Okay, so it's okay, so on Tuesday. So on
Okay,
Tuesday at 8
Tuesday at
p.m.
8 a.m.
Tuesday at 8
8 p.m.
Right.
Mr. Suarez?
Yeah. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just a clarification. Every time that you have asked me to see you, I have shown up.
Yeah, it is true, sir.
And Interim Chief Diaz, the same. And Mr. Ventura, the same. Sometimes conflicting with my personal schedule and rearranging my schedule to be able to make it. I just want to make that clarification because you said that commissioners don't go when you request to see them.
Correct.
That's not my case.
Correct, I know. I was making a global statement, but you are the exception to the rule.
You said none. None of us. Okay, it's okay. We'll get through it. Okay, we're gonna try to keep it to 3 minutes from now on. We get the gist of what most people are probably gonna be asking.
Never. I've been alone with him. And I knew it.
Okay. Okay, we have Ignacio Menoncal. Iggy?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Iggy had to leave, but he said he succeeded the time to me, because I had to go get my sister at the airport, so if you could please entertain me.
Oh, you mean to go first?
Yes, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Roberto Ochoa. I live in 11315 Northwest 7th Street, Sweetwater, Florida, apartment number 2, I'm sorry. Just a little historical, I think I know in this room, I am the longest standing public servant in the city of Sweetwater, with the exception of Mr. Duaso. I am the longest standing law enforcement officer in the city of Sweetwater, bar none. Toledo, Jesse, nobody. And I've been here before. My part is on the judicial portion. I have a clear understanding of our form of government. But it'd be remiss of me not to come here and just try to maybe give some guidance or some light to all of us here in this room. I worked with maybe 9 police chiefs. I might not have gone fishing with them. Some of them have treated me, I believe, unjustly, and Mr. Diaz might attest to asking me, Robert, why do you work? And I think I've been the best administrator or assistant to some of the chiefs here that have existed, because like John Rivera said, I have a clear understanding of my oath of office and what it entails and the duties and responsibilities of being a public servant. It is an honor to be a public servant. And being a public servant, you have to put personal things aside. Personal things aside. And just recently we went through an administrative change, and it was a massive administrative change. And I was asked to please to remain and do the transition, and I did so. And if I'm able, a simple high school graduate, able to grasp the concept of public service, the idea of selflessness, of being able to give to the city, sacrifice at all costs. I've gone out there and cleaned and rolled my thing and cleaned streets.
And I could be arrogant and go, I'm a police officer. No, I'm a public servant. And my duty is to the citizens of Sweetwater. And I believe that tonight you're on the right step. All it takes from you is setting up that meeting. All it takes from you is showing up to the meeting. All it takes from you is making the right decisions, not for yourselves, but for the citizens of Sweetwater, who I loved and have protected and have put my life on the line every day. Every day for 30-some-odd years. And I ask you, like I've done before, let's be bipartisan. And bipartisan takes a lot of intestinal fortitude, takes a lot of forget about what happened yesterday, forget about what happened 5 minutes ago. If we give our word that we're going to come here and meet and we're going to look at the best interest of the citizens of Sweetwater, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to forget that yesterday Georgie called me this and that the other guy called me that I was fired and lost 19 years of my career. And I could be sour, but I come here every day and work for Chief Placido Diaz, and work for Chief Jesse Menocal, and work for all the chiefs that have been here. And put my personal feelings aside. My only feeling here is to protect and to serve the citizens of Sweetwater. And that's what the oath of office is. It's just a simple thing that I know all of you, in your heart, I know that you all could do. Orlando, I've sat down and gone to your house and had wine coolers when they called us underminers. Mayor Diaz or past Mayor Diaz, I have sat down with you and we have talked and gone, hey, look, why don't give us raises? I don't want a raise. Because I believe in my oath of office. Not only here, but I served this country for 34 years. And you know about combat. And you put everything aside. Because the most important thing is a mission. And in this case, the most important thing to anybody in this room, the host, even from the guy that picks up the trash to the mayor itself, is to serve these citizens. And that's it. End of that. If you don't do that, you're violating your oath. So I please ask you, and I've asked you before, let's please be bipartisan. Just use me as an example. If I'm able to work for somebody that I had to start my whole career for, and I gave 150%, you could do it too. I want to thank you again.
Thank you.
It's not my business to work. You are the legislative party. You're the executive body. I'm judicial. But it'd be remiss of me as a public servant, as a citizen of this beautiful city, and a city that nobody here has been more than I have, except Mr. Duasa. I ask you, go to that meeting. Forget about what I said yesterday. Forget about what I said tomorrow. Forget about what I said that. Forget about everything else. Focus on the mission, and the mission at hand is to make the city whole. And I know that you all could do it together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ochoa, is Iggy here? Or he left?
He left.
Okay. Simple.
Let's be. Iggy got called home, so Iggy has to go home real quick.
Okay.
Let's smile.
Okay. We have Commissioner Maroño wants to speak for 3 minutes?
No, señor de calendar, it's too much for today. It's enough.
Okay, thank
Leave
you.
that for later.
Ms. Claudia Miró?
Good evening, Commission. I just signed up to translate for 2 other speakers that have decided not to speak.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Okay. Domingo Benito.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Domingo Benito, 500 Southwest 109th Avenue. I've been working for the city for the past 27 years as a police officer. I'm a police lieutenant now. And every time, for the past few weeks, every time I go out on the road Many people that know me because of the years I've been here, they're asking me and they're saying, how come the commission, and they own houses here, they ask me and they say, how come the commissioners don't raise taxes? We rather the commissioners to raise taxes and to have a good police force than not to have a police force. And I really don't know what to answer them, to be honest with you. My concern is those guys back there right now, the new guys, that they go out there in the street every day and they're thinking, I'm going to have a job tomorrow, or I'm going to have a job tomorrow. And look what happens in Dallas. People tell me, well, that will never happen in Sweetwater. Very wrong. It could happen anywhere in the United States. And they're thinking about the job, they're thinking about the streets. All I want to ask you is, if there's no money tomorrow and they lay off more police officers and we can respond to calls in this city, what are the citizens going to do? What are they going to say to us? I just want to ask that. Because if they tell me I'm going to raise your taxes, but you're going to have the police force that you have, and we have an awesome force, by the way, all right? Because I've been here 27 years, and like Georgie says, I could have gone to City of Miami, I could have gone any other place, but I chose to stay here in Sweetwater. The department is moving forward. Some people are going to tell you, some people are going to be negative, and they're going to tell you, no, the department is moving forward, the department is moving forward. And one thing I'm not is a hypocrite, and I don't lie. The department is moving forward. But at the same token, we need you guys to back us up. I can't tell you to raise taxes. I can tell you what to do. But if you don't, there's more layoffs coming to the police department. We ain't going to able to service the citizens. And 3 officers on the road, who's going to back me up when somebody calls in sick? We need to think about that. That's all I ask you.
We agree with you. I think nobody in this room doesn't disagree with you. But I'll tell you what, Benito, you might know some special people, because I've never had a person in Sweetwater come and tell me to please raise the taxes.
Oh, yes, me either.
They've called me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Now, I'm not objecting to raising taxes, but it has to be in a reasonable fashion. You can't put the burden completely on the taxpayer. We have to work together, the administration and the commission, to come up with reasonable solutions to increase revenue. You need to understand that this is a unique city. That what's happening is we got huge growth. Hotels that are coming in here. The ad valorem is going to go through the roof in the next couple of years. We're going to probably be in the next 5 years be able to put $5 million in reserves if we did it right. But the problem is we got stuck with a combination of issues that just snowballed in one time of being able to pay and come from a small city to a city that's growing. And then we had a couple of issues where everybody, just like the mayors, had to pay things. And Mayor Diaz had to pay things that came along that were $1 million.
And I understand that, sir.
So now we have to work together. But you need to understand it too. It's not as simple as people think.
Well, I understand, but I'm out there in the street with these guys.
Right.
And when the citizens and everybody goes home and they go to sleep in their own bed, these people are out there.
I get it.
And sometimes I'm out there and the chief is out there, Herbelo, Carmona are out there because sometimes we're short. Can you imagine if they give some more layoffs to police officers? I mean, that's all I ask. I mean,
Right,
to
I
work
get
it out. And yes, they have come up to me and told me some people to raise taxes if they need to keep the police department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Humberto Herrera.
Good evening, everyone. Humberto Herrera, work for the police department, currently a sergeant for the motor unit. Public record, address 500 Southwest 109 Avenue. It's funny, I'm up here speaking kind of by mistake, because for years you learn as a police officer that whenever you go to a meeting or a training, there is a list. We sign in. So I see my boss signing in, so hey, here I am signing in. Didn't know that it was to speak, but here we are.
That's good.
It's not a problem. I've seen many of these commission meetings on YouTube, and I've seen everyone come up to the podium, and I've never understood the pressure, or how much pressure someone can have to be up here in front of the cameras, in front of the media. Thank you. Gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, I second what my lieutenant says, Benito. I've been present when he's had citizens come up to him to state those facts as far as the taxes. I'm not very good, and I do not like to talk about politics. I don't like it. I like to be a police officer. I like to do my job 125% and not worry about what the politicians are doing, because that's really it's none of my business. You understand? But when you walk around the department and you see the faces dragging on the ground because of the uncertainties of what's going to happen in the future, okay? Not only that, you guys say that you guys are here for the el pueblo. Well, we're part of el pueblo. We need you guys to fight for us too. Not only for us, but all the employees that are going through turmoil right now in the city of Sweetwater. And the bottom line is communication. Mr. Rivera from the PBA came up here and spoke very well, and afterwards you followed it, talking about communication, and you guys had an interaction. And you know, sometimes it's hard to put your head down, or sometimes it's hard to take a step back and not declare defeat, but to say, let's shake hands and let's work on it together, especially when people have different opinions and the politics kick in, and I'm who I am and you are who you are. I will tell you this. In reference to the police department, we have a great police department. We have a great group of guys. It's unfortunate that we've lost a lot of good officers that I consider good leaders to our city, to other cities and other municipalities, because of what's going on in the political spectrum in our city, where they've had to leave, when they've said, I don't want to leave, but I have to leave because we have families. Understand? My wife today reminded me, Christmas is coming soon. She wanted to know why I put such a sour face. Well, because though I don't express and though I don't feed into the uncertainty to the newer officers, because as a senior officer, you're supposed to help hold it up and don't let them see fear in your face. But when I'm at home, I can express the truth. And she wanted to know why I put that face. And I said, well, because I really don't know where everyone is going to be standing by Christmas time. Not myself. Because I, like Officer Delara, and I will say in open forum, have signed up for many off-duty jobs to assist officers that are less senior to me because they have nothing else to fall back on. Okay, I'm not a repeat offender, but I've done it. And I've done it on purpose because I know where that person is coming from, because I've been in the city of Sweetwater since December of 2005. All right? And I worked here as a reserve officer for many, 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 many years, hoping for a chance, hoping for that light to just let me in. And I begged for these off duties, so I know where they're coming from. What you guys need to do is communicate. Communicate, because today this police department has a great core of leadership. We have a good chief, we have a good assistant chief, good majors, and they have taken us forward like the Jetsons, light speed, overnight. And that's something that maybe you guys don't see because you guys aren't in the mix with us. All right? Speaking clearly, like I don't know how you guys have progressed or taken step backs because I'm not in your position. But they've done an incredible job. I've been a police officer since September 11th, 1995. And I've seen, and I've been in and out of departments to know what's good and to know what's wrong. We have a good core of guys that don't mind to go out and run into danger, not run away from danger. But we need you guys to hold hands. Like John Lennon said, all we need is love. Let's hold hands. Let's make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Bueno, cógete, mira. Mr. Watson.
Only a few minutes. That's it. For 36 years, not only for my employees, we're employees. For 36 years is pro police. For many, many years. And it's not necessary to say I'm different policies in here. I say, in this moment, it's not feel good. I respect your opinion. Thank you. Terrible. Terrible your position. Are you it's implosive, no? I led for many years your department. For many, many years, 36 years. Past different chief police, Toledo, and mayor, I say here, but never change. It's repeating, it's not necessary to say, no policeman. I'm sorry.
Okay, if I can have city attorney, like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I am taking the unlikely step of addressing you in this manner. And as I've sat there and I listened to many of the speakers here, something kept coming to mind. And this room is where choices are made. So I'm incredibly tough that all of you have to make. And frankly, I sat there. You know what? I do have a choice tonight. I have a choice to have my words be constructive, or frankly, have my words be destructive. I usually try to impact things and people in a positive way. Mr. Mayor, you've had some interesting things to say to the media, and it's not the first time you've done it. And on one occasion, I remember telling you that, Mr. Mayor, I just want to let you know, I heard what you said, and I want you to know that as an individual and as a professional, those that know me, those that have worked with me, know who I am. So I'm not worried about those people. I can't worry about those that do not know me. And I told you that time, if it benefits you politically to say those things about me, feel free. And I was gonna have a few choice words here. But I do have a choice. And I will remain constructive. And I'm gonna tell you why. I don't wanna make it about me. There are people here that are clamoring for the jobs. You have police officers that are worried about their safety. You have a commission that is trying to get the budget in order. You have an administration to run. It's inappropriate to do it about me. The only thing that I will say is, some of the words, some of the ridiculous accusations that have been thrown out, they don't bother me. I'll repeat my words. Those that know me, that have worked with me, know who's standing here before you. I can't worry about those that don't know me. However, I've had the privilege of working with yourself and this commissioners for some time in different capacities. And I know the commitment that you all have to this city. And it bothers me that people outside of this city do not see what we see. Do not see the potential that this city has. Okay? A lot of people in this room, we know it. And we know it all too well. So I can go ahead and concentrate right now on a tit for tat. You know. Or I can just go ahead and echo some of the words that have been said here today. I will leave it with the following. We all have a choice. Commissioners, Mr. Mayor, we all have a choice. We can either be constructive or destructive. Your words do not insult me, Mayor. But it bothers me when you insult these commissioners, along with those words. I stand here ready to answer any questions of anybody. We know the saying in Spanish, el que no la debe, no la teme. you know what? I'll be happy to talk to whomever needs to talk to me. Like many of you, I have spent countless hours here. Like many of you here, as elected officials, the staff, the police officers, and we can go ahead and trade insults. We can go ahead and get personal. Is that constructive? No. I've heard a lot of encouraging things here tonight. So for the sake of remaining constructive, I will go ahead and just say that I, like a lot of these people here, a lot of these commissioners, and I'm sure including yourself, Mayor, we got a problem to fix. Let's stop calling each other names with baseless and ridiculous accusations, and let's get to work. Count with me. And hopefully at some point soon enough, the people outside of this city will get to know what you know, and everybody in this audience that is connected with the city knows that there is greatness here. And we have to start showing that, and not just showing, and I hate saying this word, but the circus that sometimes takes place. So I ask all of you, and I ask that of myself, because I will not ask you to do something that I would not do myself. All I'm going to say is, let's all be constructive, and let's get this done. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Greco from the IUPAT Union would like to say a few words.
Come on up, ma'am.
My name is Deborah Greco, and I have the distinct honor of representing the civilian employees here. It's a great honor. When I first came in to represent them and work on the contract, some of you were here. We worked together very well. We were able to get things accomplished. When I came tonight, as I was driving down from Orlando, I thought about several things. But what was really weighing heavy on my mind was the 9 people who no longer have a job. I thought about, because even though I'm not present, I have watched every council meeting, every special meeting, every workshop, and I see what goes on. All I would like to say, and I see some progress here, some real progress tonight, is to please, let's not worry about who said what to who and who did what. Everyone knows there are problems, but let's come with some solutions. Because the real problem here is not who insulted who or who was in the paper, but 9 people who no longer have a job, 9 people who cannot pay their bills. And as of the end of the month, 9 people who do not have health care. And the police officers. We need to. Now, I don't live in Sweetwater, I live in Orlando. But for these people that live in this wonderful little town, you need to put things aside. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, who offended who. Please, do the right thing. Put these folks back to work. I beg you. Because I cannot sleep at night when I know there are people here that do not have a job. So please, all of you, please. We've worked together before on behalf of the employees. I'm asking you to please do it again. Thank you.
All right. And that's it for everybody? Okay. Go to item 10, consent agenda.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I apologize. I didn't have time to sign up. Mayor?
Yes, come on up.
Thank you.
we're gonna give you 30 seconds. No, I'm just, because you go on, man.
Why'd
the mayor leave?
1 second.
Mayor, where you going? Hi, my name is Marcos Vinuel. I can say that I reside at 500 Southwest 109 Avenue, the City of Sweetwater Police Department, because I'm there more than I am at home. I'm also a City of Sweetwater resident. I'm a lieutenant here in the police department, and I put in probably about 70 hours a week. My chief of police is here to attest to that, and I get paid for 40. 30 hours is, as we call, on the arm. Currently today I have 3 officers working the road to cover the City of Sweetwater, to cover 4 square miles. And just so we're clear, I'm not here to defend the man that sits in that chair. I'm not here to defend the mayor. I'm not. I'm not here to defend the commission. I'm not. Today I'm here as a police officer, as a police lieutenant, defending our officers, my brothers and sisters. And unfortunately today, as a command staff member, as a manager, and as the B shift commander, the afternoon shift is my responsibility. So today and every day, whatever happens on the afternoon shift is on me. And I have to answer to those 3 men every single day. And any incident that occurs in the City of Sweetwater, by God, the majority of the time happens on my shift. And it often does. I have to correct John Rivera. John Rivera said that the threat that has happened nationwide has not come to our city, and unfortunately, Mr. Rivera didn't have the proper information. He was incorrect. The threat came to our city. This national threat of killing law enforcement officers came to our city on Saturday. On Saturday at 9:30 at night, 2 gentlemen in a light blue Honda Civic were heard saying openly that they were going to shoot and kill Sweetwater police officers found drinking coffee at the Latin cafeteria. That is a fact. A countywide bolo was issued, and immediately thereafter, the Homeland Security arrived, FBI arrived, and on a Saturday, I again had to show up. I had 3 officers working the road. As you all know, you all have been here for 25 years, and we all drink coffee there. That's our little slice of heaven. Many times, my guys get reprimanded for congregating. And I have to adhere by the policies that the command staff and the previous command staff and the previous command staff established that they don't like for us to congregate. I like it. It gives me that 10, 15 minutes to say hi to my guys. How was your kid's birthday party? How was that baby shower? Because then once we get on that radio, chaos happens. So we are the guardians of our city. And I will gladly give up my life for my residents and my town. I love my town, and all of you here know it. And we're just asking, since we're the guardians of Sweetwater, we're just asking for you guys, including the mayor and the commission, to be our guardians. I will tell you something that I have a personal relationship with each and every one of you. I love you to death. And I don't care who's here. I love you. I admire you.
Thank you.
And when you say to the mayor, let's put our differences aside, man, I want to go up there and hug you. I do. And you know that I don't give a damn. Forgive me for saying damn, if that's a bad word. I don't give a damn about politics or about who's prettier. I'll sign my reprimand later, sir. But I will tell you this. I was that man's chief of staff, and we had our personal differences. Evidently, I'm all over a deposition. I've never betrayed that man, and I will never betray you. And I had an opportunity to. Trust me, I did. But I got to look at myself in the mirror. More importantly, I got to look at that young man sitting right there. Stand up, son. Wearing a City of Sweetwater summer camp shirt. Who goes to Sweetwater Elementary. Who says that I'm his hero. And I got to look at myself in the mirror every day. So no, I will not betray you. Moreover, I had an opportunity to betray you. And I won't do that either. Why? Because if I do it to him, I do it to you. Right, sir? You heard me say that, right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
And the mayor said, I respect that. He may like me, he may not like me, but he said he respects that. The purpose of me being here is this.
that lady sitting right there, who sits in that corner, who's going through a world of hell for the last 3 years. And nobody can say that she hasn't. But I will tell you this. I ran for mayor against her son. It was the ugliest battle in the history of the city of Sweetwater. Was it not, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
We set a national record. National record. Or in a municipality was the highest voter turnout. Nationally. And after that election, I'd have you know, that lady calls me every Father's Day. That lady calls me on my birthday. That lady spoke to me 2 days ago. And every week, she calls me. If she sees me on the street, she stops. Dame beso. Dame mi beso. So if I can put my, and I'm sorry, I will stop.
You know what's coming.
So if I can put my differences, if she can put her differences aside, that lady right there, and see me and call me her son, which is an honor, ma'am, I think the commission can do the same with the mayor, and the mayor the same with the commission. So with that, I leave you. Thank you. All I ask for is to be the guardians of our police officers and help me keep cops on the road and not have only 3 cops on the road. Give me 7 or 8 at least. Give us a fighting chance. So when that call does come, I can put vests on all my guys. I can put rifles on all my guys, because right now I'm giving my personal vest to my guys. Thank you.
All right.
Please, what?
Commissioner Law.
Please. Please. You don't run again for mayor, no? Be nice, huh? Tell me. Usted no va a rodar para alcalde otra vez, ¿no?
You want me to answer? You want me to answer? Let me get closer. You want me to answer if I'm going to run for mayor?
Yo lo conocí a usted siendo un flaquito aquí,
I'll tell you this.
ayudando a los viejitos.
Te digo esto, comisionado. Yo prefiero en 10, 15 años tener las 4 estrellas que tiene ese caballero ahí. Yo prefiero eso primero. Y después en 15, 20 años, si yo decido aspirar a la alcaldía, entonces yo lo hago. Pero yo prefiero fajar por mis policías y defender mis residentes primero. Y después, quizás, que yo me canse de defender y recibir balazos y puñaladas. Ya yo tengo 3 discos herniados y una puñalada aquí, por esta ciudad. Mi sangre está en esta calle. Y después de eso yo me canso, quizás yo me siento ahí.
Okay. Wait, we need to get going. Hey, we still got a lot to do here, guys.
Marquito. Marco, please.
Val just told me to have a good night.
Marco, please.
Ya, vamos. Okay. We go to item 10, consent agenda. I'm going to try to speed through most of this, guys, because it's gotten long. Okay.
Second.
Hey, no?
I got a move by who? Commissioner Diaz, second by Commissioner Barrero. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Okay, we go to staff items. Item A, an ordinance of the City of Sweetwater Commission creating Article 5 of Article 58 of the Code of the Sweetwater, Florida, entitled Streets, Sidewalks, and Certain Other Public Places, providing for procedures and regulations for sidewalk cafes, and providing severability clause and an effective date.
Move.
Mayor, wait a
Wait.
minute.
No,
Mayor Lopez, and this is the second reading and public hearing. Public hearing is now open. All that wish to come forward on this item, please step forward now. Let the record reflect that nobody's coming forward. Public hearing is now closed. Moved by Commissioner Duaso, seconded by Commissioner Maronio. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maronio.
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez.
Yes.
Commissioner Duaso.
Yes.
Commissioner Yanyo.
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto.
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz.
Yes.
President Bergignon.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna, B is out. Okay, item C. A resolution of the mayor and the city commission of the city of Sweetwater establishing policy regarding anonymous code enforcement complaints that do not involve life safety issues and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Maronio.
Move.
Second.
I'd like to say something before we go forward on this. We haven't moved from exactly what happened last time. We don't have any new ideas. what's happening is that we have, anybody can give any name and complain about the resident to begin with. And how do you know it's a life safety issue until, how do you take the call if you don't get a name? I don't understand, so
Through the chair,
Sir?
I do agree with you, and in the past, we brought this, I think, already once, and I don't think that it's safe, in certain occasions to call someone for a code enforcement, violation, and you don't know what reaction that person is gonna have against you, so.
If I can,
On my personal case, I do not agree with this.
I don't agree with this. I want to get rid of the issue with the anonymous calls. We've all received them. Mayor Lopez got pounded with them. We got pounded with them. We cleared everything up. But
If I may,
yes, sir.
and I think this is going to help everything. I have implemented administrative policy months ago where code enforcement has a directive to not take any anonymous complaints unless people come in and give it in writing, unless it poses an eminent life safety issue. This doesn't really have to resort to a resolution. I've done it by administrative policy, so all anonymous complaints have been stopped as of January 1st of this year. We are no longer taking them. If the commission wishes to entertain and try to pass a resolution, it'll only ditto and shadow what I've done by administrative order.
So what do you do when they have how do you know it's a life safety issue or not?
Let's say like the city has received a complaint in writing that we received it 2 weeks ago. And it went through the Department of Licensing and went to code enforcement. It was involved in my office where it was saying that a business did not have a business license, a business tax receipt. It did come in writing, the person identified itself, so then we investigated it, resulted that they actually did have a business license, so it was investigated, the city replied back to them, the business does have a license. But these are types of complaints that would come in before, all the time anonymously, this person doesn't have a license, it doesn't have this, let's say, just to throw something off the wall, it doesn't really apply here. You know, he didn't shave his dog last week and he was supposed to.
Right.
That's not a life safety issue. Code enforcement, that's the one that receives the complaints, it, will make a determining factor if it's a life safety issue. Obviously, they're the ones that are enforcing.
But what about when they take a phone call for that? That's my issue because, for example, I'll give you a great example. One of the issues that happened a while back in my block, they were coming to my house. People were knocking on my door. Hey, that guy down the road's got 2 huge boats that go all the way up to the sidewalk and they're sitting on drums.
Right.
So what's going to happen is that a person calls up and goes, hey, there's a guy who's got huge boats, shouldn't have that in his yard. Somebody's going to say that's not a life safety issue.
Correct.
But it is. If the guy's got it on drums and that thing falls over and there's a kid there or somebody cutting the lawn and it falls, it's a yacht. This thing's like 40 feet
At that
long.
point in time, you can determine it's a life safety issue, somebody else was not determined it's a life safety issue, so it's just really a difference of opinions, and if somebody would approach you on it, you're more than.
Right, but I think that we have to
as
have
well.
somebody in place that determines that, that's qualified to determine that.
At the time, right now, who's making those decisions is George Vega, who's code enforcement supervisor.
Through the chair.
I really don't see it.
Mayor, did Jorge Vega went to that training that he was scheduled last year to about code enforcement to become really a certified code enforcement officer?
He is a certified code enforcement officer.
Because it's not only that. I remember once a long time ago, Marcos was I don't know. Marcos left. Marcos Villanueva.
Yeah.
Marco was telling me the issue that he went through with his family. The neighbor was a drug dealer, he was a disaster, and someone told those guys that Marcos called the code enforcement and they threatened his wife and his family. So that's the type of situations that I'm trying to avoid, because nowadays everything is going crazy in this world.
Through the chair, if I can address
Go
a couple
ahead.
of your concerns, and I was going to discuss them with the mayor, but since the issue came up, let me just give you some insight into what I think would be an effective way to deal with a couple of the issues that you have at hand. One of the things that you want to do is bring accountability to the complainant, and by virtue of that, I mean, if you call and the person claims to be anonymous, you take information down, and the way we did it before is you have a callback number where you can call these people back physically and verify who they are. So they have to identify themselves with a valid number first. Secondly, I think that would be a solution part to solve somewhat of the issue you have. Now, the other issue that you have with Chapter 164 that deals with code enforcement is the fact that there are certain trainings called FACES training. There are different levels of training that you go to. And those are just formality trainings that tell the code enforcement officer what he can and cannot do at certain levels. FACES 1 will teach you whether you can, tells you, okay, for example, a code enforcement officer cannot look over a fence. It cannot intrude into a place without being let into, and so on and so forth. And it goes all the way to FACES 4, or FACES 3 or 4, I think it's up to 4 now, which goes all the way to the Code Enforcement Board procedures and process, the way it works. I believe that Mr. Vega is scheduled or was scheduled to take the class. I have to get back with him. I have just recently been involved in this. But that is essential. It is up to training that we should send them to in order for them to get a complete understanding of what they can and cannot do. I think a lot of the things that have happened here in the past is because of lack of understanding of the process. As far as putting checks and balances in place, I agree there have to be some checks and balances put in place. I don't know what the entire solution is,
Right.
but I think that there are some things that we need to address and fix as we go forward.
Right. So that's why I would rather leave it as a policy right now if it's working for the mayor. And then when we fix those problems, then we make our resolution the right way. That's what I really.
To the chair?
Yes, sir.
Very. Mayor, maybe the person can state his name and address, but the code enforcement department or unit shouldn't disclose the name of the person giving the complaint.
They don't.
So what if the
They
person
don't?
says they're Santa Claus and, because that's what happens with record check.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz, if a record is created with the information of the complainant, that is a public record and it has to be made available to anyone that requests that particular record. So you cannot withhold
That's
sharing that
another one.
information.
Correct, if they
Thank
request
you.
it, but not like as Commissioner Diaz was saying that they not tell them, they don't tell them. If they do request it, it has to be given.
Right. That's why leave it as a policy and then we'll fix it. But we have a motion by Commissioner Duazman, second by Commissioner Maroño. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on this.
Commissioner Suarez.
If I may through the chair before they
Sure.
vote, like I'm saying again, and I'll repeat myself, if you wish to vote on it, do so. I think that the city's in a better place if we just keep it as an administrative policy rather than a resolution.
Okay. Do you want to withdraw your motion, Commissioner Duazzo?
Through
or-
the chair,
Sir.
Yeah, Mayor, it's an administrative policy today, but at some point, you're not going to be a mayor anymore. I will not be a commissioner anymore. So if a new mayor tear down your executive directive, we don't have any resolution left, we don't have any ordinance left, it's gone.
Well, he's got 3 years to come up with a right resolution.
It's,
Mr.
you've also
President.
got by the same token, if you're gonna go by the same rationale that if you pass it by resolution now, commission a year from now can say, we're not in agreement with this resolution. We wanna go back to receiving anonymous complaints. Right.
What about if instead of a resolution is an ordinance?
It has a little bit more teeth to it, but an ordinance can be repealed just the same.
Mr. President?
Sir?
Just to add to the conversation, essentially, if you were to approve the resolution as is today, it simply means that this commission, as a matter of policy, agrees with the current administrative policy. And the only way that that can change would be by a subsequent resolution of the commission in changing its policy, whether it is by a resolution or through an ordinance. The commission as a governing board and the policy-making body, basically, with this, should this resolution be approved, basically makes the current administrative practice the policy of the city. So nothing really changes if you approve it. It only means that the commission has promulgated a policy desiring to take this, to have this practice. If it's not approved, basically then it remains an administrative practice, and the administration can go ahead and make any changes as is fit whenever it is fit.
Right. If it works for the mayor, that's fine, but I don't like the policy myself, the way it's done. Let's do it right.
Thank you
Sir?
very much, Mr. Attorney, for saying in good words what I had in my mind when I was asking the mayor that to put it into a resolution has a little bit more teeth than just an executive directive. And if it goes into an ordinance, he just said it will have more teeth. But at least today we have a resolution in front of us.
That is correct.
To support his directive, approved or disapproved by the commission.
Correct.
Right, but the problem is here that we're assuming a responsibility of somebody that's not trained right now to assess the life safety issue, technically. So somebody now calls in and there's a life safety issue, it's not assessed properly, a little kid gets killed, who's responsible?
Still, the executive directive is active and is working and it's being done.
Mr.
But
President.
With or without the resolution.
But then that's not, I'm not gonna condone something if it's not done right. There has to be a way to do this right. Not just to do it, to condone the policy. I'm not against him personally, but I wanna get rid of it, but I wanna do it right.
How is it done right?
We're
Mr.
gonna have to-
President?
We'll do some homework, because that's what, when she brought it last time.
Learning process.
But we can go to other cities, we can go to other places and find out exactly what they do. We're not the only city that's ever gone through this. And that's what we said last time when we brought this, that we were gonna bring it up again.
Yeah.
But there was no change, it's the same thing.
No. It's not the same, right? No, it's not the same.
It just says a life-saving policy, but who's the one that's gonna?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
To your question, and I will confirm this, but I believe that the individual tasked with the responsibility of making that determination is the building official. And as the building official, it is that person that makes a determination as to whether a present circumstance presents a life safety issue. It wouldn't necessarily be the code enforcement supervisor or a code enforcement personnel. It has to be the building official. That is the one that makes that determination.
Just to clear up what you said, it's some degree correct. The code enforcement official identifies an issue of potential life safety issues. And then those can go in one of two directions, either to the fire marshal or to the building official, who by county ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, are the only ones that are empowered to actually close a place down. In short, the code enforcement officer does not have the authority to close a place down. So the answer to your question is that I agree that there has to be proper training in place, much similar to a lot of the training that's put into place in the police department. This is one of the areas that was, somewhat not really focused on for a long time, which I'm beginning to focus on now as I've had a little bit more time to deal with it. And that's why I've been, and I don't remember the dates, but I know that we looked at the FACES trainings. The problem with the FACES trainings, most of them are done out of town. I think we were waiting for one that comes into Broward County, I want to say. But we're looking into the FACES training. We're going to send at least 2 or 3 people to have redundancy in the training, and I believe that they should go through all the training phases, all 3 of them.
But you're gonna send officers to?
You can send officers. You can send officers as well. But in this occasion, we're going to send Mr. Vega and the other code enforcement officer right now.
But it has to be, okay, so right now, if somebody calls in and says, hey, I have an issue, who determines it?
Well, just to make it clear, you don't have to have that particular training in order to be a code enforcement officer. It's preferred.
No, not the code enforcement, but we just said that it has to be the building official.
That's correct. The building official or fire marshal are the only ones that make that determination.
So he's gonna get the call?
No, initially it goes to the code enforcement. Code enforcement makes the initial vetting of the call. Say, for example, you have a huge electrical issue that you have a grow house, say, for example, and they have rerouted the power into the house. That is a life safety issue. The code enforcement officer doesn't have first of all, the knowledge, nor the ability to deal with that particular issue. So he in turn will call either the electrical inspector, who in turn works with the building official to close the place down and have the power cut. They're the only ones that have the authority to call FPL directly and have the power cut at the
Right, but so when somebody calls anonymously and says, hey, there's a grow house, the guy making the determination is the not the building official, it's the code enforcement guy.
Well, in a grow house, in the case of a grow house, it would be police. We work directly with FPL.
Right, but let's say another issue that's not.
Another issue that's in the
police-wise.
grow house, the code enforcement would be the initial one to vet it, and he has to either contact the building official or the fire marshal.
So then how does he determine, hey, I gotta get your name and number to follow it?
He's got to err on the side of caution, and I would strongly suggest that you have contact numbers to anybody who calls in anonymously. That I've seen that done in the past before. And as far as mirroring other municipalities and other ways that the process is done, I've already requested several standard operating procedures from other municipalities to mirror them here. which are best practices. And again, why reinvent the wheel, rewrite them when they're already written? So we're in the process of getting that in line for the mayor, and again, also the training in line for the personnel that are going to be staffing that particular department.
Okay.
To the chair, like to just go on, just what they're saying is that let's assume that somebody calls in an anonymous complaint. Listen, this person that resides at ABC 123 ABC Street has 4 chickens in his backyard. I want to file a complaint. That's an anonymous complaint. It's not a life safety issue. At that point in time, it's vetted. It doesn't go anywhere.
I understand if it's a chicken, but if like example,
Right, that's
if
what I'm
I'm telling
saying.
you, if I'm
You've
telling
got
you
a
what
process
happened
of
to me,
vetting it.
if I'm telling you what happened to me, the guy had a boat, and the guy complained about the boat, but not knowingly, it was a life safety issue because nobody went out there and looked at it until later on, that somebody said, "Hey, he's got a bunch of barrels under this thing. He could just fall over a 40-foot yacht, fall on the guy." So that's what I'm trying to get at. Where sometimes common sense isn't common sense. You know what I mean?
And unfortunately, that case, believe it or not, you may not consider that a life safety issue. And I'll tell you, it's funny because we had that case in Wynwood. Quite a few people had big boats, exactly as you said, on those 55-gallon drums. And the way they were able to eliminate it is thinking outside the box. They called DERM. The violation was the drums, not the actual boat, and the possibility it could fall on somebody. So in a case like that, you also have to have the ability to contact the other agency and in essence, think outside the box and see who can best fit the profile of what you're going to do there. But again, it goes back to training. I think, like everything else, everybody here deserves the opportunity to learn as we go forward, and I think that we can work with the good people that we have here, properly teaching them, vetting proper policy and proper policy and policy decision-making up here as well. And I tend to agree with you in the sense that you need to make sure what you're passing is complete and consistent with what you want done. And it needs to be tweaked a little bit, more than likely, but it's work in progress. And I think the policy that the mayor has in place for now is a Band-Aid. It's not necessarily the whole cure, but it's a Band-Aid for the problems that you guys are consistently having over the last, I don't know how many years since this has been going on. And listen, it goes on everywhere in the entire county. The anonymous complaints are generally just that, and the people don't want you to know who they are, because it might be your neighbor who has something against you, or against you, or against you, or against me. I got a complaint from one of my neighbors that said I put my pool in without a permit. Obviously that's crazy, but I had like 4 or 5 inspectors come to my house, knock on my door, and go inspect my pool, and go look at my plans. So I understand it's frustrating when that happens. It's very frustrating. And there has to be a way to correct it and deter the behavior.
Right. Okay. So do you want to withdraw or do you want to keep going?
No,
I want to keep up.
the resolution, Mr.
Okay. She makes a motion. You make a second?
Yeah, he make a second.
So I see you want a second. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Moreno, a second by Commissioner Duazo, and it's a resolution. But I like a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Duazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Yanyo?
I'm gonna, because I understand what the mayor is saying, and at the same time, I know they want something that is gonna state. Yes.
Commissioner Barreto?
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
No.
Commissioner Moreno?
Yes.
President Bergignan?
No. Okay, the resolution passes 5-2.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay,
Through the chair,
sir.
we can always continue working on this, tweaking it,
Right.
making it better.
It can always be amended.
The
I'm just
mayor
worried
is-
about something happening and then we're responsible for it happening. That's all.
The mayor is already testing something with the directive that he can test, try, tweak, and make this better later.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Item D, an ordinance of the City of Sweetwater City Commission amending, we changed the wording from before, that's why. So used to saying it. An ordinance of the Sweetwater City Commission amending Article 5 of the Land Development Code of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, entitled Accessory Structures and providing severability clause and an effective date. Commissioner Yanyo, first reading. Does that have to be a public?
Yes.
No?
Second
Okay.
one.
Not on first
No.
reading.
That's for reading.
Okay.
Okay, basically, the only thing is gonna be changed is the G, which is the last line on the section 505.
Through the chair.
It's only to be amended.
I was gonna request some comments on that one, Commissioner Yanyo. Hedges must be kept presentable condition, properly maintained, and the owner of say hedge or hedges shall make every reasonable effort to care for all sides of the hedge of hedges in a line manner. And we discussed, we met and I called Guillermo in reference to this, and he said, well, every reasonable, but reasonable is extremely general.
Yes.
So many times the neighbor
Yeah.
doesn't want you to
Doesn't
go
want it
on
to-
the other side of the yard and swim or.
Okay, but because of the reason this is what's going on, I have a few complaints from a few residents. The owner keeps his size, and then the other side is a jungle. And it's not
Right.
fair that they have to pay for it, when there's no, actually, it's no, the trees.
They are imposing really you some work that you don't deserve because you didn't plant it.
Exactly,
I
and,
understand that.
again, it costs a lot of money to trim those, falcon,
So
fences.
what are the changes then?
That before it was supposed to be on the owner side only. Now we're trying to add, if it's going to have that kind of fence, should be kept both sizes.
I agree.
Yes, I see that all the time. Okay,
That's the only change that we're making, because if you think about it, I mean, it's not fair. You're trying to, you plant those fences, you have trees all over your sides, and it costs money.
Right.
To
Okay.
trim those,
You don't
fences.
want to be imposed with that extra work. I understand.
okay, you wanna make a motion, Randy?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Barreto, second by Commissioner
waiting.
Duazo and Ñaño. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanya,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto.
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
President Bergignan.
Yes. Perfect, passes. Okay, item E, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the purchase of auto parts from Palmetto Ford, authorizing the expenditure of funds and providing an effective date. Mayor?
Move.
Mr. President?
Sir.
Is that
Uh,
typo there?
Yes, there's
Yeah, the extra A.
Yeah.
there is there's also a scrivener's error. I'm sorry, not a scrivener's error here. We have to incorporate the amount of the cost of the part
The cost.
in the item. So you would have to make that amendment, as well as the actual funding source. If the administration can provide us the actual funding source for that, we can go ahead and amend it into the item. And as always, thank you for the eagle eyes of Commissioner Suarez and catching some of those scrivener's errors. Thank you so much, sir.
This is the one that was like $1,000?
It is $1,202.78. And what has to also be identified is the proper nomenclature of the funding source.
Ricardo, I believe it's the Hassan Transit.
No account.
Through the chair?
The funds are there, they're budgeted,
Yeah,
whatever.
there's,
That was gonna be my question.
I believe there's about $5,400 there, which are enough for this one as well as 2 items later.
Okay, so
Second.
Commissioner Duazo
As
moves as amended to
As
include
amended.
the price of 1,000, how much exactly?
$1,202.78.
And what was the other? Oh, and it
funding
comes
source?
from the half-cent
Hassan Transit.
transit. Sir?
Mr. Cuadra,
Yes, sir.
what about the required 3 quotes?
That is another question. I believe that was, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Suarez had a question relative to whether or not 3 quotes were obtained on the item. Those because with only one, then they would necessitate a supermajority vote to be able to go ahead and do a sole source purchase. I don't know if there was nothing in the item indicating the reason why it's a sole source.
Correct. I don't work for the Transit Department. This is the only quote that was done. It's being purchased by Cummings, and this is for a Cummings engine. It is probably the only supplier for this in Dade County.
Then it needs a supermajority vote? Is
Um,
that what needed?
Without having the specific information, I would suggest that for it to go forward, that it will require a 5/7 vote.
to the chair, so we don't need to waive the
That supermajority, you would incorporate into your motion a waiver of the three-quote requirement.
Okay, so as amended,
If I may through the chair, but this has never been done before, because let's say, if you're buying trucks for a Ford and you historically bought them from Palmetto Ford, you continually buy them from Palmetto Ford, you don't get three quotes, so.
no, we always got three quotes.
No.
Yeah, and we just have somebody like the maintenance department recommend, hey, this is the cheapest, best one or whatever.
I don't believe so.
I
I'll
think you'll get
ask them
5
tomorrow,
votes. I don't
but
think you have.
I know in this case it won't apply, but, because it's a Cummings part, and you're getting it directly from Cummings.
Okay, I second the motion.
I second.
Oh, Commissioner Diaz seconds it, and it's a resolution, right? I'm burned out here. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, item F, authorization regarding foreclosure action, city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was provided by code enforcement, and my apologies, because I left them downstairs, actually. I need to, at one of the follow-up meetings that we're gonna have, I'll bring you the specific information for those properties, so I can properly request that the commission grant authority to go ahead and initiate the foreclosure proceedings. For the meantime, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring this item to the next commission meeting.
Move.
You wanna
And the next available
No.
special meeting.
What mean?
It will be the 25th, the meeting for the 25th.
Okay. So G's out, H, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the purchase of 8 auto parts from Cummings Power South, authorizing expenditure of funds and providing an effective date. Mayor.
This is same thing as the other part. It's a part for one of the transit. It's coming from the half-cent transportation tax. There is $5,453 in that account to date.
Mr.
This
President?
part,
This is the item that has the Scrivener's errors. The price reflected in the resolution should be $3,578.55. Again, thanks to the eagle eyes of Mr. Suarez. Thank you. And the mayor has identified the funding source, so at this point, it will be amended, the item should be amended to reflect both items. The cost of $3,578.55, the half-cent transit as the funding source, and again, I know that this is a Ford vehicle, and there's only one quote, so for the sake of, to err on the side of caution, I will suggest that there's also a motion to waive the 3-quote requirement.
Okay, but we can do it as amended instead of just a motion? Okay. But
So
my only.
I move as amended, to waive the 3 quotes, right?
Okay, and I'll second it, but I have a quick question. Just to be clear to the audience, because they're seeing all the issues that we have with financial issues, they understand that this money only is budgeted for that and is from a
Solely-
source that we can only use it for these type of items. It's not for employees or anything else.
correct.
So with that being said.
And through the chair,
Yes, sir.
while you're making amendments to it, you also have to make an amendment to the title itself. It says it's being purchased from Cummings Power South, when it's actually being purchased from Palmetto Ford, I believe. Palmetto Ford Truck Sales. So that's another amendment that has to be made to the actual title itself.
Thank you.
Oh, it's in the memorandum. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, but
To the chair.
both the title of the resolution as well as the title of
Okay,
the
so
actual
it'll be as
resolution.
amended to include that.
I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on the subject, and we shop the parts elsewhere, but these are dealer parts only. That's why you don't have 3 quotes.
Okay. So where are we at here? Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
As
Okay,
amended.
shows unanimous.
Yes, amended.
7-0.
I didn't get
As
a
amended.
second on that, Mr.
Yeah,
Gates.
we
It was
need a
me.
second.
I was the second.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Aye, a resolution. Actually here. Okay, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, determining that certain property surplus, waiving the requirements of section 2-271C, authorizing mayor to dispose of this property and provide an effective date. Mayor.
This is to dispose of all the cell phones that we previously had with the previous carrier being Verizon. We've received 3 estimates to purchase it. I believe the highest one is from Lynx for $4,587 to buy all our surplus phones as well as air cards.
And it goes to general fund?
Yes, sir.
Move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. J, ratification of department heads, code requirement.
I would like to present for ratification to Placido Chief, Interim Chief, actual Deputy Chief right now, Placido Diaz.
Move.
Second. You don't make a motion, you vote on it.
Okay, what's that?
I don't understand.
I say move.
He moves.
There's no-
Commissioner Duazo and second by
I'll
Commissioner
just give you a
Suarez.
clarification that there's no
No, there has
motions
to
on
be some
ratifications. I
motion.
name and the commission votes on it.
There's no motion or second
No.
ratification.
Why ratification?
Mr. President?
Okay, sir.
In the past, what I've observed, and it's that the commission has made a motion to either ratify it or not ratify. So that has been the customary practice here. You can choose to go ahead
Right,
and
I'd rather
move to
do it that
ratify it
way.
or
Okay, so you're making a motion to ratify? And your second?
Second.
Motion to ratify. Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
To be fair, I have a question. Can one person be renamed over and over, or it have to be always a new person? I'm just trying to find out because I don't know.
the requirement as it reads, it's when a person is not ratified. A subsequent name, a different name has to be provided at the subsequent meeting. There is no prohibition as to once a name has not been ratified, that name could not be brought back. There is no such prohibition, no.
That's the reason wrong.
So
So it could be,
when a department head name is brought forward and is not ratified, the requirement is that at the subsequent meeting, a different name be provided.
oh, okay.
There is nothing, again, that precludes
cannot
a
be
previous
going.
name that has been
Okay.
submitted
No, I
from
just
being submitted
wanted to
again.
know because I didn't know how it works.
Okay. And,
I'm sorry, through the chair. Mr. Mayor, why have you considered Placido Diaz as the right person to lead our police department?
He is more than qualified. He has sufficient financial experience as well as administrative experience in police departments, as well as code enforcement, as well as red light camera. He is a well-rounded police officer, and that's why I'm bringing this nomination forward.
Are you sure that Mr. Diaz is the right person for our police department?
Absolutely, and if you take into account all the testimony of all the police officers that came forward today, they have attested to it as well.
Mr. Mayor Lopez, with all due respect, who is going to give a different a different testimony having the chief of police in front of them?
you can ask the ones that got laid off, and you can ask the ones that got fired. But,
So,
okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to be sure that you feel that this is the best choice that you have made for our police department.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay, hold on, specify because we always have problems.
Right.
Yes or no, and everybody get confused.
Okay, if it's a yes to ratify,
The motion, as I understanding, it's a motion to ratify the interim chief Placido Diaz as the chief of police. So a vote yes is for ratification.
okay, and a vote no, it's
No
no.
means no.
A vote no means no ratification.
Okay,
No, because it's always a confusing issue right here when you start voting.
okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Yanyo,
No.
Commissioner Barreto,
No.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Several months ago, I ratified the last time he was proposed for chief of police. And today, after seeing for many months the way he had led the department, I feel more confident today than several months ago to say yes.
Commissioner Duaso?
Yes.
President Bergenyon?
No.
4-3.
4-3.
So it passes.
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Estos son sus amigos también, Chief.
Bueno, congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right.
What? Felicidades.
No sé cuándo no vas a terminar la chapa, ¿sabes? Pero algún día vienen. No la han terminado todavía, ¿no? La cometieron un error con él.
Okay. Let's go on to okay, Kay, I'm gonna move to the end after the reports. We're gonna go to L, which is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, requesting Mayor of Miami-Dade County to provide professional assistance to the City of Sweetwater related to the account reconciliation, budget, and management provided for an effective date. This is basically a sounding board, exactly what the mayor asked the county to help, we asked the county to help, but we actually want to put something in writing so it's legally, like that gentleman that came up earlier, we want to do this in writing so it's, you know, everybody's asking for help, but we want to legally make it so that we're asking for them for their assistance, which they might be one of the options that we have, that they might be able to provide some kind of funding source or funding. I make a motion to approve it.
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we go to, oh, wait, I'm missing one. Police and code enforcement report. We have a written, you want to say something, Chief?
In addition to the report that I provided you all, I just want to give you an update on where we stand with the different property room issues and where the destruction is going. We have finalized, thanks to the assistance of George, who was here earlier, what was the clandestine issue that was in all those trailers. We're about 95% done with that. We have since begun the conclusion of our parallel inventory, if you will, of the existent evidence room here. I'm looking forward to bringing an item to the commission for destruction so we can put all of that in the past. That said, I also want to give you a report on accreditation. We had our first mock for accreditation from the state of Florida. I'm proud to say it went very, very well. We've eliminated all of our high liability areas, including our property room, our holding cells, and our communication department, which is, and also our DUI facility here. It's all being outsourced where officers can go to other facilities. I want to say that we should be accredited in the next couple of months. They were very impressed with our presentation, and I look forward to bringing that in front of you very soon.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Chief?
Chief, we met a couple of weeks ago and you brought me the issue of the Maverick, the horse.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Attorney, I don't know if we can do that by motion or we have to make a resolution. Because the horse actually was never accepted by the city as property of the city. And you cannot give something as a gift to another city or institution if it doesn't belong to you.
That is correct.
So advise me on that, please.
Yes, through the chair. Commissioner Diaz, you may discuss the issue, but since this has not been an action item placed on the agenda, you may not take action at this meeting. It can be placed at a subsequent agenda so that action can be taken. Right now, you may discuss the issue, but there's no action.
If I may, let me give you a little bit of history on it so you're aware. Because look at the M1. I have been going back and forth on this for the last 7, 8, 9 months. The issue was I've been trying to deal with Asbury University to get a proper receipt documenting that the horse belongs to the city of Sweetwater. However, the hesitation is obviously liability. At some point when the transaction took place, it was very convoluted. We verified that the funds actually went directly to Asbury from individual donors. But I have a stack of emails, probably this thick, that never actually establishes ownership of the horse. So the issue that we have is you can't give it away if you can't give somebody a document authorizing that you can give it away. Right now, that's the problem that we're facing. I've been going back and forth with Asbury with trying to get a waiver, a disclaimer, general release of liability to them, something. And we've been also discussing different resolutions to accept it in a manner that would be formidable in order for us to dispose of it. We are caring for the horse, but I think we're doing the animal a disservice by not taking action. And we talked as recently as 2 weeks ago to try to get the receipt from Asbury again. We might have to come out with an alternative or outside of the box solution, maybe a resolution accepting it unanimously by virtue of the documentation that we have at hand, which is the checks and actual custody of the animal. That way we can dispose of it. We can put it in the agenda for next commission meeting, and we can do twofold. We can take action unanimously accepting the horse and also taking action to, do what the will is of the commission and the administration with the horse.
To the chair. Guillermo, can you and the chief work on that so we can solve that issue once for all?
Certainly.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, B, Parks
Please,
and...
please, Chief,
Yes, sir.
press attention la covacha. There's many problems every night.
Yeah, I've been
It's
dealing with
very
that.
important.
I've been dealing with that, and I come by here at night, and I come by here all weekends. Like Marquito was saying, believe it or not, we are actually out here Saturdays and Sundays answering calls for service. Myself and the major and Herbie. So I'm out here, and what they have is, and we're going to deal with code enforcement. They have a stage set up in the back, which is a collapsible stage, and they pull a permit for a certain number of people, but at the end of the day, they wind up having 3 times as many people. So I'm setting up a meeting with the owner, and I'm going to basically read him the riot act as to what the rules and regulations are, because I will be in contact with the fire marshal who can shut them down for life safety issue, which goes back to the topic we were discussing before.
Please.
Yes, sir.
It's maybe close, I don't care, I close.
Yes, sir.
It's problem every night, problem.
Yes, sir. Believe me, it's a problem for us. I'm aware of it, and we are dealing with it proactively. I am setting up a meeting with the owner, and he's going to either have to take certain measures to correct the problem, or the fire marshal will intervene.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Item B, Parks and Recreation, Maintenance Department report. Have written. City Attorney report.
To the chair.
Sir.
Is Mr. Abolila here?
Abolila.
Yeah.
Let's just up here.
I have a question for you on Parks and Maintenance Department. Just one question. The generators, I believe there are 12 that are placed in the Maintenance Department parked. They don't have a roof on them,
They do not.
so they are at the
Severely
mercy
deteriorating, yes.
of the weather.
That is correct.
Okay, we're gonna have to do something about that.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I've suggested it on many occasions
Yeah.
over the
Thank
last
you.
few years.
We got a new budget. Let's see if we somehow can get some money to put a roof on those 12 generators that have been at the mercy of the weather. They cost a lot of money, I guess, about
$500,000.
$12,500 each, right?
They're, between all 12 of them, close to $500,000, yeah.
You remember your time, eh? Mamma mia.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, City Attorney report. Nothing?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Mayor's report.
Nothing additional at this time. What I would like to notify everybody, the commissioners as well as the residents and everybody in this audience, that tomorrow evening, here in the commission chambers between 7 and 8:30 p.m., the Clio Institute will be hosting a climate changing workshop. So all interested, please come tomorrow. It's between 7 and 8:30. Besides that, I don't know if Val was going to mention it in the clerk's report, so I'd like to take advantage and do it just in case it's not covered. The passport office has resumed working on Sundays again, so we're providing passport services on Sundays.
Okay, but it was 7:30 or 7 it starts the climate?
7 to 8:30.
7 to 8:30.
And
Okay.
if anybody needs any information or any assistance, please contact 305-485-4538.
Okay, Commissioners report. Commissioner Duaso, of course.
Please. In different time I go to zoning. This office is zoning and no way between the Dolphin Mall. I talk to different employees for any complaint. I say to me, especially to people. Around this is John Main and Mr. Vega. I say to me, I never complain. The 2 people working at Pride. Maybe I complain, I don't know. But they say 2 people, Vega Hernandez y uno de Hernandez y uno de Danny is working strike. No. Boss is the mayor. When the mayor says he's coming, he says I go to the office. But say to me, these two people complain. I don't have complaint when they go to my house. I don't have any illegal in my house. Make a letter, take to me. Nothing illegal in your house, Mr. Duas.
Okay.
I say to you, I don't have complaint with Mr. Vega and Mr. Hernandez.
To the chair.
I don't say another one, I don't know.
Okay, Commissioner Manuel?
He's first.
No, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Manuel.
Okay, Mr. Quadra, I have a question. In the litigation the city have between Lucy Castro and Mr. Diaz and the city, do you hear something about that?
Yes, I believe that the appellate court rendered a decision basically sending the matter back to this commission. One of the things that honestly needs to happen is, in the opinion, if I recall correctly, what it mentioned was that it needs to go ahead and come back for consideration to the commission under the proper review standard. In the alternative also, another option is to consider a code revision. But I'm going to go ahead and get with you specifically and anybody else that's interested and go through that opinion so the proper action can be postured on that particular item.
In both cases, the city and Mr. Diaz, right?
Correct.
Separate.
Correct.
Together.
Correct. But remember, it was an action that this commission took relative to that application, and it discussed what the appropriate standard review of this commission was. So the next action by this commission needs to take into account the proper standard of review.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner
To the chair, yes. Mayor, this is not a report, but rather a question. Under my tenure as mayor, I remember that we replaced the playground adjacent to the Mascanosa Youth Center, and I was planning to donate those parts to a church. And you were president of the commission, and you actively opposed me to donate that, and former Commissioner Guerra. Where are all the parts from that playground that probably they are getting rotten somewhere, and it could be benefiting a whole bunch of kids from a church that doesn't have the resources to buy a new one?
I believe they sat in the maintenance lot for the last 3 years. They're not doing anything and just rusting. They may have been disposed already.
If being disposed, where is the money? Because you have to bring it before the commission.
Or who do we donate it to?
No, disposed, that's thrown away.
Thrown away?
Yes, sir. They were sitting there in 3 years, and I believe that what I had heard from the maintenance department was that they were in rusted and deplorable condition, and they may have been thrown away, but I can find out for you.
I would like to have some information regarding, those remainings.
Okay, any other commissioners?
Mr. Mayor, you say maybe next budget, all the employment for the layoff may incorporate on the city. Please, I say to you, please, maintenance is my baby for 15 years. Consideration these people. It's nice, por favor, considéralo. Yo sé que usted va a poner, según usted ha dicho esta noche, en el nuevo presupuesto, empleados que usted le dio layoff. Pero yo le pido, por favor, este departamento hace mucho trabajo para usted en la ciudad, porque ellos prefieren limpiar la ciudad está limpia, y quien se lleva el mérito es usted, Mayor. Por favor, considérelo. Muchas gracias.
Hey, Commissioner, as I stated before, all employees are going to be put into the 16-17 budget, which is what we're currently working on right now. It's within the commission discretion afterwards to fully fund the entire budget or to not do so.
Yeah, I just wanted to make an addition to that, to the layoff people. I know you wanted to put them on the next budget for next year, but besides that, the union rep is over here. You guys work with the county as well. Is there any way they could get like job placement assistance. If you guys fail to include them in the budget for next year, you could talk to the county and see what position they would fit as far as getting some job placement for them. I know you just have them thrown out in the city.
There is no relationship or anything where the county has a job placement that if they're laid off from one city, they're going to be placed in the county.
I know, but I'm just saying, as a city, you guys deal with the county as well, right?
We don't deal with human resources in the county. All they'd have to do is go onto the website and check to see, but they do have periodical job fairs, as well as the city hosts periodical job fairs as well here as well.
Okay, all right.
Okay, elderly services program report, special projects report, building and zoning, finance report, city clerk's report, nothing, human resources report, and now we're gonna go back to item K, which are retention or dismissal of city clerk. Commissioner Diaz?
Yes, this item was tabled to for further or future meetings, and we spoke to Val last year, and we promised her to retain her until December, and she agreed to it. And then we just considered that it was important to extend her stay with the city until now. I think that the city has to move forward, and we appreciate the work and the so many years of dedication from Val to the city as a clerk. But I want the commission to consider this, and I present this item, and I will move to dismissal of the city clerk, and I request a week transaction and appoint Carmen Garcia, deputy city clerk, as interim clerk until ratified or until the commission finds someone for that position.
Before we go forward on anything, we had spoken to her too about something with some kind of a pension or some kind of something that we can help her with.
There was the last time this item came up, when it was tabled, one of the things that was discussed is coming up with a package, if you will, for individuals that had a certain length of service, and basically to legislate a certain separation package, if you will, for those that attain a certain number of years in service. I know that the mayor recently asked me to take a look at what the state provides. Off the top of my head, I believe that the state provides that anyone that has 30 continuous years of service and I believe has reached the age of 70 years old. What they do for those state employees is basically provide that employee is entitled to 50% of their annual salary for average of their annual salary for the last 10 years, I believe. That was requested. I have not had an official request to legislate that. That can always be done. And at this point, I basically just need some direction. Now, at the time that this was brought up, a couple of other things that were discussed were basically to provide, again, a similar type of package. And I have some numbers here, if the commission would like to see them, relative to providing, whether it is, I believe, 20% or 50%. I have specific information. I just simply need some direction from the commission.
Okay, if I
as to
can.
what they would like to do.
Okay, but if, let's say, she's dismissed today, is there something that we can do for the next budget year? Because that's where the money's gonna be, so that we can do this.
If this is done via ordinance, I will confirm this, but it is my belief that it could be applied retroactively to when an employee separates as of a certain date. So if I understand your question, it's basically to go ahead and provide in that legislation that funding be provided on an annual basis to deal with that specific provision and those specific benefits. I will confirm this for you, but I believe that the applicability date for an employee separation date can be done retroactively in that ordinance.
And I believe you're incorrect.
I will have to confirm that. I'm not saying that, so I'm saying that I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that.
Through the chair.
Okay.
I have several questions. Does the city has a pension plan?
The city has 3 pension plans, one for elected officials, one for the members of the civilian collective bargaining unit, and also for police officers.
And Madam Clerk is a civilian employee. So she
That's
has a
correct.
pension plan for civilian employees of the city hall.
Yes.
But if I may, that plan gives me less than 20% of the salary I'm making now. It's not enough for me to even stay in my house.
Okay, I heard you, and I am going to consider all things in my mind. You are not a member of the UPAT,
No. I'm a member of their pension.
of the pension plan of the city civilian employees.
Right.
May I?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah. You will also be entitled to the Social Security,
Yes.
which you probably will get, according to your salary and your years of service, you will probably get the top Social Security check, as they call it, which is, don't quote me on this, but it's close to about $2,500 a month or something like that. In the corporate world, where I've been for many years, usually they give a package motivation to employees that have not reached their retirement age, but the company wants actually and cruelly retire them and bring new people, young. So they give them a package to motivate them to retire at 60 years old, like 6 years ahead of time. But I rarely see in the corporate world, rarely, I don't say never, giving packages to people that are already at the retirement age, and correct me if I am wrong. So what we're considering here then is you will be eligible for the Social Security check, you will be eligible for the about 20% that you will get from the city pension. We told you almost a year ago about what we're considering here today, so you had time to arrange your finances. And maybe we could today give you, not to say you are dismissed today, to say we will dismiss you in December. So you almost have a year and a half to arrange your finances and stay here until December and be able to train either the deputy clerk or the new clerk.
Well,
I am having all these things in my
Right,
mind,
right.
and I am just airing them.
Right, but the idea being that we have a new budget coming up, and this is something we're trying. Look, the bottom line here is that everybody loves Val.
Oh, I love Val.
But at the end of the day,
It's the-
I think everybody's wanting a change. They don't want to hurt her feelings. We've been at this for a year and a half. Mr. Cuadra says that he can maybe find him something to help her along, but at the end of the day, what you said, you know, you have a pension, you have 20% of $100,000, that's $20,000 a year. You have, you know, it adds up. And we'll try to get her what we can, but we need to move on. That's what I believe.
I love Val.
Right.
I have gotten along with her before I even became a commissioner, but the thing of it is that this is a business. This is not a, you know, like Camilo House or something like that. You know what I mean? This is a business. I have to be run like a business. And when I retired, I didn't get a package. I just went and got my Social Security check, and I had my finances arranged. And also, one thing to consider, to be financially savvy, you know, whatever we give to Val, we're gonna have to give it to other employees too.
Not necessarily.
Extra, whatever extra.
Well, they don't have 30 years of service.
Well, whoever has 30
Right,
years,
right, right.
whoever has 30 years of service,
Right.
and her age and all, whatever it is, you know.
Right.
And I love Val. She's looking at me and smiling at me. Believe me, I love Val. But this is a business, people. This is a government business.
May I address what you're saying? And I agree with you 100%. This is business. When one person elects to retire, you retire, you're on your way. This is not the same case in this section. If somebody here can honestly say that Val's doing her job incorrectly, that she doesn't do her job, that person would be lying. Val has more institutional knowledge about the city than any other person in the city, and probably everybody else combined in the city. What's being done here in the city, and this is the 4th time it's on this agenda, this is an injustice to not only Val, but to the city as well. She's not being removed because she's not doing her job correctly. The commission is almost treating her like an animal in a pasture. We're going to put her out to the back of the pasture.
Wait.
We're going to shoot her.
Wait. Okay, I got to stop you there.
This is not correct.
Now you're
what's
putting
being done
words
here.
in our mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Wait.
I'm telling you what I feel, and
Okay.
please let me speak as I'm speaking. I don't interrupt anybody here.
Wait, not when you're insulting, and you're saying
I'm not
what
insulting.
I believe and what I do. First of all,
What I'm saying here is,
No.
and I'm speaking.
No,
I had the floor.
but I can cut you off. Stop a minute.
No, you're not cutting me off.
Yes, please.
I've never cut anybody off when they have the floor. Please let me have the floor.
No, but I'm
What's
cutting
being
you off
done
now.
here
Because
is
you keep doing the same
injustice.
thing that we're talking about before. You're speaking for us when you don't know. First of all,
Sir.
this is between the commission.
You're absolutely correct, and at the last meeting, you told me it is a commissioners' meeting.
Right.
Please continue with your meeting, and with that, I bid you farewell. I will
But-
leave the
Okay,
meeting.
But wait, I'm going to
Oh,
still
no,
say
hold
what
on
I'm
a
going to
second.
say. I do have some issues.
It's your vote.
Right.
You guys are the only ones that can vote on this item, which is absolutely correct. Do so as you deem fit.
Through
So
the chair.
this,
Mayor,
Mayor,
I
we
have
just try to
through the chair.
make up here and do a job, and now you're
No,
going
I
to walk
agree.
off today?
And we can discuss it tomorrow, but what's being done here, I am not gonna be a part of this, and I'm not sitting here. Good
Through the
night.
mayor, let me say something to you. Just one thing.
Good night, sir. I do not wanna be privy to what's going on here. I really don't wanna be here. What's being done here is an injustice. Do whatever you guys like.
Well, I was going to say anyway that Val has been very good, and I know that and recognize that, and that's why he has been in this city for 35 years, because she's been doing
39.
a tremendous
39.
39 years, because she has been doing a tremendous job. That's why.
Well, I'd like to say something before the mayor keeps speaking for me. Obviously, on every meeting, everywhere I go, he knows more about what I say than I do. He has no idea that I've spoken to Val over a year about this, and I do have some issues from many years that I think have come to a head. It's nothing major, but I would like to see a change. That's all. Okay, and I've discussed some of these issues with her, and there's some that need to be left unsaid because I believe we need to move on.
Okay.
So I don't appreciate the mayor speaking for me and telling me what I think about Val, because I do care about Val, but unfortunately, it's like having a child in your business and he's not what you need at that time, and you have to let him go. You have to let him go, and
through the chair.
we can't do it anymore. We're moving around eggshells here to do what we have to do.
I agree with everything good that Val has done for this city, and I like her and I love her and all of that. We have a big budget money problem. Whatever decision we made, you don't have to, what I talked before is to air all my thoughts. Whatever decision we made here today, we have to be financially responsible on this decision, on the dismissal or retention of Val. We have to be financially responsible. We cannot throw the city out the window again one more time. We have to be financially responsible and not throw the city out the window.
Go ahead, Mr. Dawson.
I love you,
And?
for many in the city. Mayor say no money. You know why? How many employees laid off? It's no money. This is impossible. Another way. They say retention or dismissal. In my opinion, why you don't wait for next budget year? September 30. And decision is the commission. This is my opinion. September 30.
Through the chair, this has been a hard item to bring up to the commission. Since I first met Val, she's been great to the city and great to all the commissioners and trying to solve everybody's problem. But as Commissioner Burguignan was stating and Commissioner Suarez, we are trying to move forward to change the direction of the city. And I wish that I could have the solutions to probably Val's economic restrictions right now. But whether we take this decision today, or whether we take this decision in a year, or in 2 years, it's gonna be the same. Because unfortunately the retirement percentage is not comfortable for her. But I think that if Guillermo, as we spoke before, can study, the alternative that we might follow on this, she can retire. And as Commissioner Suarez was stating, with the Social Security benefits, she has insurance, and she will have the retirement. She can make a decent living.
To the chair. Mr. Diaz, do you think if we dismiss the Val will resolve the problem with the city having and this one?
I cannot predict that. I would be speculating. I cannot predict that.
Well, I want to be clear. This is not necessarily about money. And I want to be clear on another item, which is what the mayor's going to say that I said. But this has nothing to do with the issue that happened with the election with Mayor Diaz and Mayor Lopez. Because that's what they're going to insinuate, because that's what was brought up to me. And it has nothing to do with that. So I want to be clear about that. At least in my part.
Mr. President?
Sir?
Commissioner Diaz, I just want to make sure that you and the commission are clear on one thing. I need direction from the commission as to what you wish to legislate. There are options. I mentioned a percentage. I mentioned the criteria that you would like to see if you want to provide certain benefits to folks that meet a particular criteria, retiring from the city. What I need, if this commission is saying, I need some specific direction regarding that. I have some numbers and I can provide some options, but I don't.
We can give you direction today, but we're not going to vote on it today because we have to find out the details. Okay, but my whole view is to try to get her some kind of retirement, and if we can do it retroactively, that much better.
I have to look whether that is even a possibility.
Okay.
I'm not certain if that is a possibility, but regardless of that, I simply, again, I need specific direction for the commission if it so desires to accomplish something along those lines.
We do want, that's exactly
That's what
what
we
we
are
want to
supposed to
accomplish.
You can have that information for next meeting, the
Right.
21st?
No, that's too short.
Actually, I have that information now. What the information basically is very simple. It's exactly what a certain percentage would yield. I just simply need from the commission, if it wishes to consider that, what that percentage is, and I can tell you what it would yield.
So the chair, what is the percentage that the FRS probably would implement? For the retirement system?
Under what criteria, Commissioner?
On retirement or based on her salary?
I believe based on the criteria outlined in the relevant statute, I think it's 50% of the average salary over the last 10 years.
So that's a much better plan that even I was trying back then to try to switch to FRS because it's a much better pension plan than the one we have so far.
That specific statute, and again, I alluded to that earlier, but that specific statute also provides for recurring funding at every budget year. So whatever the commission wishes to entertain along those lines, be mindful that will require a yearly funding. In other words, it has to be replenished on a yearly basis, similar to the statute itself. The statute itself mandates that the state government provide the appropriate funding to provide those benefits.
Well, I wanted to
And perdona,
Go ahead.
and I just want to be clear about, you've been promised 2-3 mayors already that this was going to happen easily. And for him to get up the way he did and say what he did, why didn't he come up with a pension for you over the year? You're well acquainted, he knows the situation, and he didn't come up with either. Just like the issues that we're having with the city, it's always somebody else's fault, it's somebody's everything. So, I mean, we need to move on, Val, but I'll give you my word. Anything that he can come up with that we can do to try to help your situation is fine, but you gotta understand, looking at it from a monetary point, which is not my only point, I'm saying about as far as your retirement, is if you're getting 20% of 100,000, that's 20,000 plus you're getting the 2,500 from Social Security.
But I don't think that's a question. If we don't have to involve the Social Security, this is her Social Security, it has nothing to do with the city.
Well, we don't have to give her retirement either. Like a lot of people, they just leave or lose their jobs. But we're trying to care about her, and we're trying because we want to try to get her something because she's in a unique situation because of she's not like administration, but she's not. She's an employee, but she's not. She's works for only the commission, and the mayors haven't come up with a plan, and we haven't come up with a plan. So we're trying to help her out. We're not doing. It would be very easy to just say, "Hey, we dismiss you, and that's it. You're gone." But this has been a year and a half with this, and we need to move on.
Social Security, it has nothing to do with salary.
Well, the idea is that she's bringing up that she doesn't have the money, but also you got to understand a person that makes $100,000 a year for extended amount of time.
We have a lot of people leaving the city with a lot of more money than you guys pretend give it to her.
What?
Police retirement, early retirement.
We're trying. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give her something.
I don't think we can mix Social Security with.
Okay, don't forget the Social Security. She makes $100,000 a year. She should have planned something with her future. We told her a year and a half ago. Should have put some money away. If you want to be aggressive about it, but I'm not. We're trying to help her
I
out.
am not aggressive. I believe the lady works for the city more than everybody else over here. I do a tremendous job, and I don't think it's fair to do that to her at that time. It's my opinion. That's what I think.
May I address the chair?
Yes, ma'am.
When I came in and we worked together on the pension, on the arrears payments that hadn't been made because you couldn't come to an agreement, and we agreed to a settlement. We worked with the city, and I believe that the city is about halfway through that agreement. So if her pension would be a little bit more if those payments were credited to her account that you're still making to the pension fund.
Through the chair. Ms. Greco, I see that you refrain from mentioning my name and you use the city. And I think it would be, it'll be very grateful from you if you refer that sitting here, we negotiate a contract that you never thought that it was gonna be possible under other administrations. So I think that you should give me some credit that I accommodate your demands in such a way that all the employees from the UPAD were impartially treated and not selectively treated like before or maybe the future. And one of the things that I promised you and we closed the agreement with was to treat everyone equally based on seniority and based on their qualification, their job description. Back then, you didn't negotiate with the city, you negotiate with Mayor Diaz representing the city of Sweetwater. That it caused me a lot of criticism, and still today, I'm receiving a lot of criticism for being fair with the employees of the city of Sweetwater.
Well, with all due respect, sir, I meant no disrespect to you. I guess because it's the way that I try to put my message out or phrase my questions or concerns. I've never been one to say, I, me. It's we when I talk about something that we have accomplished. And when I said the city, I didn't mean to not specifically give you credit because I don't really think that's important. I don't think that you all are sitting up here as a body, and I don't think about things as to who specifically did what. That's just not my nature. I didn't mean any disrespect or not giving you the credit that you feel that you deserve. I didn't even look at it that I didn't even think that way. I apologize.
I just think that honors, and I congratulate you for being a fighter, for the cities, for the employees of the city, and that you accomplished with my administration things that were not accomplished in the past.
Right.
That was totally a broken relationship.
Yes, it was.
That's all what I'm trying just to.
Yes.
And I'm sorry if I mean, probably unmodest to that point.
No, I understand, but again, I just want to make sure that when she does retire, if that's the decision, that the pension is made whole on her part, that she's not leaving with something that's still being paid by the city in that form.
Right.
That's because it could increase her amount, because there was the issue there with that. So if that could be checked into.
We have been trying that already for a year and a half, so that we can create something for her that is, her compensation is going to be something that alleviates her financial, I would say, inequality, or that is not equitable what she's making with what she's going to retire with. But in addition to that, I have never seen someone working in an institution until they want to. The administration in public administration or in private sectors, people have a contract or people have a position. In this case, a boss position is an at-will position, and that's what we spoke about, a year and a half ago. And still we are trying to do this in a way that doesn't affect her in so much. But at the end of the day, the city cannot she's not gonna retire making $100,000 a year. That's the bottom line. No matter what we comes, whatever we comes up with, she's not gonna retire with that kind of money.
I just wanted to make sure that
She's gonna be
the
treated.
payment
fairly.
that she was getting is
Right.
what, that we agreed to, and if she leaves before that is paid in full, then I didn't want her to be harmed by that, is my only comment.
Nobody wants to harm Bob.
And this discussion has come up, let's just say this discussion has come up, and I can almost positively say that the mayor is gonna veto it.
Well, that's,
On top of everything else, so
I just wanted to
I don't wanna speak
speak.
for him, but that
Right.
discussion has
Mr.
been brought
President,
up. Okay,
a couple of things. In some discussions with the clerk relative to what would be a workable package, if you will, the following number is what I have to provide to you. For every 10% of her salary, annual salary, you're looking at about $10,500
A year?
a year for every 10%. So it's just a little bit of for every 10% of annual salary, you're looking at $10,500. Relative to the veto power, Mr. President, veto power only applies to ordinances and resolutions. But again, those are the figures we have. At this point, it's a matter of a directive.
okay, so what you're telling me is that we can make a motion. How much is that total? I saw you adding it up there, Mr. Diaz, Commissioner Diaz. What's the total there?
It's a 10%,
For every 10% of our annual salary, you're looking at
$10,000
May I, Mr.
per
President?
year
That's a-
on the budget. I mean, that the city have to.
No, that's the total
Provide.
package.
For every 10%. So if you're looking at 20%, then you're looking at 21,000.
20,000.
If you're looking at 30%, then you're looking at 31,500. So I give you that as a reference point. For every 10%, that's the amount. And it has to be appropriated on an annual basis because it would be an annual benefit.
May I?
And can this be done retroactively?
I have to confirm that. I'm not certain that it can be.
May I?
Yes, Commissioner.
Va, you accept 10%?
Actually,
Decision in
he's-
commission.
Actually, he's more generous than even I had asked for. Because it worked out to about 48%, not 50%. And the thing is that
I'm sorry.
what we had worked on was that it would amount to about $28,000 that the city would have to budget every year. Because I'm getting the other 20,000 from the IUPAT, the union pension.
So you will be making through a share
It'd be about
$20,000 a year.
$2,200 a month, something like that.
Okay.
I had
So
the exact
a
figures worked out
10%
at
would
one.
add up 30,000. A 20% would add up $40,000 a year. If we create an additional package, I don't know for how long, because you have a time.
Well, it depends on whether you're basing it on my salary now or my salary over the last 10 years. My salary wasn't what it is now
I
over the last
understand.
10 years. We went several years without a pay increase.
But it's, I mean, the policies is on your case for the last 10 years or for the last 3 years?
The issue of the average of the last 10 years of salary, that is what the state
Dictates.
provides when somebody has served continuously for 30 years or with some break in service for 35, I believe. At that point it's 50%. The mayor recently asked me to go ahead and look into that particular, and I provided that information. That's how I know, and not only that, but the clerk highlighted that particular provision some time ago. What I'm telling you here is that whatever the commission wishes to do, that relative to a dollar amount, I gave you the 10% number, so you can basically do the math based on whatever numbers you may be considering. Ultimately, it has to be something that has to be appropriated in the budget, and you have to be mindful of that on an annual basis, because you need to make sure that if you're going to provide that benefit, you have to budget for it. At the same time, as Ms. Greco was stating before, something can be done to make sure that whatever payments are being applied to the pension can go ahead and make sure that we that we cover the clerk's portion if necessary. Arrangements can be done through that as well. Again, it's simply about exercising the will of the commission as to whatever it desires to accomplish.
Okay, it's your call. What do you want?
May I approve for a minute? Or I can't?
Let him finish first. See what he wants to do.
Well, I just want to adhere to my item and have the commission vote on it.
So you're asking for 10%, which is 10,000 a year? That's what you're proposing?
I think as Commission President Bergignan was stating, money is not the whole thing. I think that VA has to plan already, you know, and smell the roses after so many years of hard work. So we have to be mindful on what kind of percentage we're gonna apply on this, because then it'll be no benefit to dismiss her in reference to reduce the overhead in salary.
Yeah, but it's not about that.
No, I understand. I understand that the entire, I think, on my personal view, that the city have to start afresh and take other leadership, and nothing that we just ratify Chief Diaz because we want to see under his leadership what the city is going to look like. And then we will determine what kind of job he has done, you know, sometime from now. And in the case of Val, that's the I would request her dismissal and add a 10% to the
starting the next fiscal.
Starting on the next fiscal year, a 10% toward her retirement plan.
Mr. President, if that is what you are looking to do, I will caution you that if this cannot be done retroactively, she would need to be an employee when that benefit becomes effective.
Until the next fiscal year?
Correct. So again, it's how this commission decides to
Okay,
do.
so can we do the dismissal effective October 1st?
October or September 30th.
And we're gonna have like 2 or 3 meetings. Well, no, by then we're gonna have a bunch of meetings.
Yes, an item has to be prepared, and it will require, obviously, 2 readings. Again, reminding you that in all likelihood, it has to be an ordinance, and it has to be an ordinance because it will require that adequate funding be provided, number 1. Number 2, it is not a benefit exclusive to Madam Clerk. It will be a benefit exclusive that provided to anyone that reaches the required criteria. So.
Okay, so we can make the motion today as he wants, amended to October 1st.
The motion, as I
okay.
understand it, I'm getting two things. Number one, basically a directive to go ahead and draft the necessary legislation to provide that benefit for those individuals that meet that specific criteria. Number two, as I'm understanding, I guess you are looking at separation from city services as of October 1st. I don't know if that's the motion you're making. I think that's the motion I understood.
Okay.
Excuse me, through the chair. And I think, Guillermo, that you have to consider also, as you are going to have an ordinance for all the qualified employees in her same position, that we did it with Fugeda, with Tui, when he was going to retire.
Right.
We extended and we opened it for 20 years of service. Everyone has the same opportunity. Otherwise, we
Okay,
would
but
be-
you can work out that.
But that's a different issue, commissioners. That is a different issue. What you did in those instances was to basically create a window, so that an early retirement window. Okay, so those that avail themselves of that opportunity and separate within that time frame, they can obtain those benefits. And it was only open during that time frame. That is a completely different scenario. What we are discussing here is providing a benefit, a new benefit to a specific class of employees that have a certain continuous time in service in a specific age. And anyone that reaches that criteria will benefit from that. That's why the requirement to adequately fund that on a yearly basis is needed, because it's not a window. It's something that is established benefit that the city will be providing to those individuals that meet that criteria.
You won't have the time frame that was established back then when Fugeda
It
retired.
wouldn't be a window, because that's a specific window. That's a early retirement incentive.
Mr. President, I don't think we have too many employees that work for the city more than 20 or 25 years. To me, it's just one more employee in maintenance department.
However, you cannot make the benefit exclusive to just
Right,
one
no, we just have
individual.
a window and a date.
So it is about setting the threshold, and any employee that reaches that threshold then would have that particular
It
benefit.
might actually be an economic benefit then if the other employee wants to take care of it. To us, okay. So, Jose, what is it, the,
So I move for dismissal, having the time frame until, for keeping her
September
the
30th.
next fiscal year on October 1st.
She will have to be an employee in the fiscal year in which you know the benefit applicability period pertains to. In other words, if you want to basically tie this onto the next fiscal year, she will have to be employed at the time that the benefit becomes active in the city.
Through the chair, a question. If we have to dismiss an employee because work over here for excessive year, maybe 20 years, what happened with the commissioner who worked over here for more than 20 years?
That's an elected, I'm sorry, to the
Go
chair.
ahead.
That's an elected official position, it's not a
To me, it's the same.
unemployment.
I had 36, when 39 is nothing.
Through the chair.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Quadra, you said that it had to be employed in the fiscal year that is going to be in the budget. So she had to be employed then until October 1st, not September 30.
Correct.
No, he said.
October 1st.
October 1st.
So she doesn't miss the next budget year. She will
Correct.
be in it.
Or she will have to be, if it cannot be applied retroactively, and again, I have to confirm that, if it cannot be applied retroactively, then she will have to be an employee during the fiscal year in which that benefit will be applicable to employees
I will
meeting
go-
that criteria.
I will go for that because she will be here a few more months, well, actually 2.5 months, in order to give training to the successor, you know.
To the chair. It is 11:30. We have to extend it for,
Okay, I make a motion to extend it for another 15 minutes.
second it.
Second by Commissioner Diaz. All in
Can we have a
favor?
Can we have a 3 minutes break?
Yes, sir. Let's take a break here. We'll extend the meeting 15 minutes and we'll come back. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.